very soon. So we're hoping to get some more details on what exactly happened here and who was killed in this tragic accident. Okay, and we have a few crews on the scene here. We've got 2 reporters that are working to gather some details here right now. We've got one crew that's, as you can see, giving you this live picture here, another crew on their way at this moment to gather some more details from the press conference that we are waiting for. So to recap, if you are just joining us during our cut-in here, this happened just before 7 o'clock this evening. One person who we are hearing from a crew member was an adult male, was caught underneath a parade float and passed away. Again, just before 7 o'clock, this happened at Canal and Galvez on the Endymion parade route. The rest of the parade has been canceled. All floats after float number 13 are being rerouted down Galvez and are on their way to the convention center for the ball that's happening. Floats 1 through 13 are making their way down the rest of the route. Okay, and I'm hearing that we have an eyewitness who our crew was able to speak to. We're going to see what they had to say.
Yeah, just one man. That's what the police officer told us, just one man. I mean, my thoughts and prayers are with the victim, of course, but I mean, like I said, we're from Mississippi, and last night we went to the Ocean Springs Night Parade, and everybody was being super cautious, back up, stay back, stay back, stay back, because of what had happened already earlier this week during the Mardi Gras. And then to come down here and the same thing happened, it's terrible. It's really sad.
A lot, and we've seen a lot on Twitter just in the last hour since this all happened. A lot of people wondering how this has happened 2 times during one long parade weekend. 2 people have passed away as a result of float accidents, and a lot of people are wondering, will the rest of the will the entire routes be barricaded in the future? Will there be changes made to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Here's a tweet that you're seeing here. This is a photographer here tweeting photos from the scene of a person hit and killed by the Endymion float at Canal and Galvez. Here's some more tweets from people who are in the area tonight. Absolutely ridiculous. Prayers to family that lost a loved one tonight at the Endymion parade. So a lot of people cannot simply believe that this has happened 2 times. Float number 13 will be the last float in the Endymion parade. This is the city tweeting. The remainder of the parade is canceled. The remaining floats and elements will not continue on the route. And we have heard since that they are on their way to the convention center for the ball. They're being rerouted down Galvez without actually parading down the rest of the Endymion route. So just to recap, if you're just joining us here, just before 7 o'clock tonight, so just about a little more than an hour ago, here is the scene right here at Canal and Galvez. One person was hit by a float in the Endymion parade, float number 14, and was killed. Floats number 1 through 13 continue down the road. Floats 14 on are being rerouted. Float 14 here is still part of the investigation. Police are on the scene. You can see the caution tape that has been set up there. Police have created a perimeter. They tarped over the area in between a tandem float. That's 2 floats there that are hitched together in the middle and are beginning their investigation. At this time, we have learned from a crew member that that person is believed to be an adult male. However, that person's name and their age are still unknown at this hour, or how this happened. We are waiting for a press conference that the city has told us that they're assembling very shortly here, where we're hoping to learn some more details about how all this happened and perhaps who this person was. You may remember this just happened Wednesday night, just a few nights ago during the Krewe of Endymion parade. There was a 58-year-old woman who was caught under one of the floats there on Magazine Street, and she passed away. There's a live picture there. You could see the coroner's van was pulling into the scene. So we may be getting a little bit closer here to hearing an update from the city. Typically when this happens, they're going to block off the area a little bit so that people cannot see what's going on. We saw that with the tarp that they had earlier over a tandem part of the float. But this is, so again, this is a live picture. What you're seeing here is right at Canal and Galvez as we wait for more word from the city on this tragic accident that happened during the Endymion parade today. Again, right before 7 o'clock here, so we're coming up on a little bit over an hour here. And we're seeing a lot of people on Twitter who are saying that they just cannot believe that this has happened 2 times in one week, really. One parade weekend, 2 deaths tragically lost, 2 people tragically lost during what's supposed to be such a happy and celebratory time. We're going to bring up some video here that is on Twitter. This is what I'm hearing, the crowd reacting to that person being hit by the parade. You can see that officer run in between that tandem float there. People here are backing up, obviously shocked, not knowing what's going on, if this person is okay. We're all watching this for the first time here. You can, and this is a loop of the video that you just saw. So this is the people right at float 14 reacting to a person who we're hearing is an adult man be hit and killed by a float right in front of them here. Everyone stunned, shocked, a lot of people turning around and walking away in fear as that officer, who you can see in that fluorescent vest, walks toward the scene. So again, at this time, we are not sure of the name or the age of the person who was hit tonight in the Endymion parade. It happened right at Canal and Galvez and Canal. We are waiting right now for an update from the city. And actually, we've got a crew on the scene who is going to give us some more details here. Duke Carter is on the scene. Duke, what can you tell us about what you're seeing?
And unfortunately got caught underneath one of the floats over here. Now, as of now, this is the scene here again at Canal and Galvez. We are expected to hear from city officials shortly. They say that they're going to have a press conference and apparently update us on what exactly is happening here. But as you can see right now, there is a lot of heavy police presence. There is a lot of EMS here on scene. There are a lot of people just wondering what exactly happened. Now, when we arrived here on scene, maybe 30 minutes or so ago, we noticed that many people were still in shock, still trying to process what exactly happened. And as you can see right now, you have EMS just again trying to get everything handled as best as they can. We also have many float riders on scene in front of the hospital as well, which you're seeing right now. And so we did speak with a couple of people here on the parade route who are still trying to, again, process what happened. Also, I want to bring your attention to what exactly is happening currently right now on the other side of Galvis. As you can see, if we get around the SUV, you can see the floats are being rerouted to a different location at this time. As you can see, there are so many going on right now. So we are hearing from city leaders that they're going to be having a press conference with us soon. But again, I want to bring your attention on what exactly is happening here on the other side of Canal and Galvez in front of the VA hospital. As you can see, the remaining floats, I believe this is after the remaining floats after the incident happened, they're being rerouted to another location at this time. And so, as of right now, the Endymion parade has been canceled. So we are trying to get more details on what will happen with the parade, but once we find out, we'll definitely let you know. We're still, again, trying to gather information on what exactly is happening here. A lot of people are trying to call people, but the cell service is down right now, so a lot of people cannot call anyone at this time. So many people are trying to get in contact with one another because there were so many people down here. There is an issue with the cell service. So again, this is what we're seeing here at Canal and Galvez. Many of the remaining floats for Endymion being rerouted. Now, what we know at this time, again, we don't have a time frame, but we have learned that maybe a little bit after 7 o'clock, a man unfortunately was hit and I believe killed by an Endymion float. So we are going to be taking a press conference really shortly. We'll have more information for you online as well. We're being moved right now. Our photographer, we're going to be moving to have a press conference.
Y'all set up on that corner, and we're going to come to that.
City leaders are expected to come to us really soon to give us more details on what exactly is happening. Again, because there are so many people here at this location, a lot of people cannot call out, so the cell service is down. So as of right now, many people are still trying to get in touch with other family members to inform them what is going on. But again, this is a scene here at Canal and Galvez, literally in front of the VA hospital, in front of UMC. Unfortunately, a man killed by an Endymion float during, well, the parade. So we will have more information for you. Once we get that, we'll bring that to you live online and stream that on all our digital platforms. But again, just a brief recap and to give you more information about what exactly is happening here, we have learned from some witnesses that unfortunately a man was on a parade route, was enjoying himself. We've heard that he did not have anything to drink. A man was pushed by someone. We've heard from someone in a crowd and got caught underneath this float here that you're looking at right now. So at Canal and Galvez, the remaining floats with Endymion are being rerouted to another location. We have no word yet on what exactly will happen with those floats, if they're going to run another parade between now and Tuesday, or Monday, I should say. But again, you can see a lot of onlookers, a lot of people who are on the float just waiting to see what exactly is going to happen.
All right, Duke, thank you so much. That's Duke Carter reporting on the scene there. He has been reporting on the parade all night and now is unfortunately at this scene. He is waiting right now for a press conference to hear more information about what happened. Just to recap for all of you, just before 7 o'clock tonight, a person who we are hearing was an adult man was hit and killed by a float during the Endymion parade. Now, our partners at the Times-Picayune New Orleans Advocate are reporting now that that float is called the Captain S.S. Eddy, and it is the same, Captain Eddy, S.S. Endymion, rather. It is the same float that struck and killed an Endymion rider back in 2008. This particular float has 3 sections. And what we were seeing, although this has not been confirmed by police, what we were seeing is there was a tarp that was draped over 2 of those sections where kind of the hitch is between 2 parts of the float there. So we're still trying to figure out exactly what happened, how this person did pass away. We did speak to some tractor drivers of the floats earlier this week. They do say that they watch out for people as much as they can, but they cannot always see things behind them. And sometimes people getting too close to the floats really makes them nervous. We see that a lot in some of the areas that don't have the barricades. Now, again, you could see in Duke's report there and some of the live video that we've been bringing you that people have certainly been cleared out of that place. The only people that are left, there are some Endymion riders and some other people kind of standing there in shock. Here's a tweet here from Justin Campbell saying Endymion is at a standstill. You can see just how many people are standing there in shock. They were apparently waiting for the parade here, and the parade never made it to them. Here's another tweet here. Prayers to the family of the person who was killed at Endymion. We're seeing a lot of tweets like this tonight. Endymion will stop at float number 13 tonight. This person's sending prayers to the victim and their family. Parents, please be mindful of your children at all times and be aware of your surroundings. Then they point out this is the 2nd fatal injury this season, really the 2nd fatal injury this week. Here's the city here saying emergency personnel are responding to an incident on the Endymion route at Galvez. An individual was struck by a float and fatally injured. Please avoid this area of the parade route. And we know since then that, we're going to take a live picture now. Mayor LaToya Cantrell is approaching for an update on what happened here. We're going to listen in.
I got to get it.
Good evening, but absolutely not a good evening. We have another fatality during a parade involving a float. The lead on this, which continues to be an investigation, is our Superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department, Sean Ferguson. As you can see that we're joined here by our public safety team, in addition to members of the New Orleans City Council. We have canceled the remainder of the Endymion parade for this evening. Moving forward throughout the Mardi Gras season 2020, we're also eliminating the use of tandem floats moving forward. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Ferguson.
As the mayor said, this is a very sad and unfortunate situation that we're dealing with right now. At approximately 6:55 p.m., an adult male was struck by a float near the intersection of Canal and Galvis, and being struck, that resulted into his death. Anything before float number 14, we're allowed to continue along the parade route, but anything after float number 14, we are disbanding right here at Galvis and Canal Street. I have made a decision that we will not allow any more tandem floats to continue throughout Carnival season 2020 until we do a further assessment for the safety measures that we could possibly take, do better approaches throughout the season, seasons going forward, not this season, but seasons going forward. Our fatality unit is the lead on this investigation. We do not know what led to his death, and that's a part of the investigation, and we can answer more questions as we give him more information. So again, this is an unfortunate fatality that we're dealing with once again in Carnival 2020.
Absolutely. We have allowed, we have our family members in the UMC where we are making sure that they have the correct care necessary to deal with the aftermath of the fatality at this particular time.
What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry?
When you say floats going in tandem, what do you mean?
The tandem, those floats that you are seeing that are connected, you may see one tractor that may be pulling 3 or 4 different floats at one time. We're no longer allowing that now. We will only allow one tractor and one float to be pulled by that one tractor.
I know you said that you don't know the circumstances of everything, but is this obviously the reason why you're discontinuing the tandem floats? Do you anticipate that was part of the reason why?
We really do not know at this time, but again, this is a tandem float that is involved in, again, a second fatality of this season, so I do have my concern. And I think we have to do our due diligence in making sure that this is a safe carnival for everyone. And in doing so, I think we have to do our job in evaluating the safety measures that could be put into place moving forward.
Do you have any status on what's going to be happening with the remaining floats with Endymion, if they're going to be participating in any other cruise?
Right now, that has not been discussed, and just as I mentioned the other day with regards to next, we're in a very tight window right now with regards to cancellations and rescheduling of parades. Tomorrow we have 5 parades that are they're scheduled to roll on tomorrow. So we have a very narrow window when it comes to rescheduling anyone.
And not only that, just keeping in mind the decision that was recently made to not move forward with the use of tandem floats, which contributes to the Endymion floats here. So any thought of using them into or adding them into future parades, it's pretty much prevented based on the decisions that we've made thus far.
Is there going to be a change to the presence of NOPD for tomorrow's floats?
Presence, what do you mean?
In the way that they're laid out near the floats?
Well, the response of NOPD was never the issue. The greatest response was something that was rendered. One experienced and expressed even by the float riders based on the way that we were able to respond in record time. So that was never the issue.
And so from this point on to the end of the route, that's canceled. But as far as what is going on back there in the beginning of the parade route, that's still going.
So what you see behind you right now is the parade being disbanded, right? Number 14, yes, ma'am.
All right. So thank you so much, and we'll provide you with more information as we learn more based on the investigations that is ongoing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now what you're hearing
As you
now,
just
this
heard
was
from City
Mayor
News
LaToya
right there,
Cantrell and
that-
Superintendent Sean Ferguson. They just wrapped up a press conference here. We're going to listen to Duke Carter here.
We have learned as of right now, according to New Orleans Police Superintendent Chief Sean Ferguson, that this happened a little bit before 7 o'clock, where a man was hit and killed by a float here at the intersection of Canal and Galvis, float number 14. And so what was happening is, again, just to briefly recap, is that floats after 14 during the Endymion Parade, that's being rerouted to another location undisclosed at this time. Those floats 14, before float 14, those will continue on and will wrap up at the memorial, at the convention center. So again, a lot of information is still being processed about what exactly happened here. Again, we heard from witnesses that a man was pushed into the float, but that has not yet been confirmed by police. They're still, again, trying to figure out what exactly happened. And of course, once we get more information, we'll definitely let you know. But again, just to briefly recap, the remaining floats in the Endymion Parade after float number 14 has been being rerouted to another location because of a man being hit and killed during the Endymion Parade. We're going to send it back to you.
All right, Duke, thank you so much. Also, what we heard during this press conference was an immediate action taken by the mayor and Superintendent Sean Ferguson, implementing a new rule that could have a big impact on parades for the rest of the carnival season this year. They have now made a rule eliminating tandem floats. That is when one tractor is pulling more than one float behind it. They're usually hitched together in the middle here. That was the fault of the first fatality that we saw during the Knicks parade on Wednesday night. That involved a tandem float, and it also appears as though this incident has involved a tandem float. So as a result, the mayor has said no more tandem floats. That could have a very big impact on the Bacchus parade and also Toth coming up, some of the other big parades that are happening through Tuesday. Now, we also heard someone ask a question and say, will the rest of the Endymion floats, there were, I believe, more than 30 Endymion floats in total, and only 13 of them actually got to make it down the parade. Will they be repurposed? We're going to talk right now with Stephen Malan. He is a staffer here at WWL. He's also a crew member of Endymion. Stephen, can you hear me? He's on the float right now.
Hey, Devin, I can hear you.
Hey, okay. So which float are you on? How close are you to where all this happened?
We're on 19B, so we were probably like 5 floats from where it happened. They've rerouted the crew down Galvez, right by UMC, towards the Superdome. And right now we are going down Porter Street. There's been a call by police to stop throwing throws, which is being heeded by the crew. We're not sure if we're going to go to the post party at the convention center or if we're going to be bused there or be taken there by float. Pretty much everything's kind of up in the air right now, but everyone is still on the floats.
What kind of communication have you all had from the city or from police or anyone telling you guys what's next for you and what happened?
From what we've heard, most communication has come through through our crew and just talking with police officers on the route. Police officers on the route have told us we're very concerned whether it was, no matter who it was an adult or a child, and what happened. And we were told by police on the route that it was an adult male that was somehow caught underneath the float, Captain Eddie. We're not sure the circumstances around that, but we are currently sitting, like I said, we're on Porterus near the Hyatt House, waiting to see what our next move is. The crew is very distraught. Everyone is very upset. It's just a bad decision.
Yeah, I was going to ask my next question here. Well, how are you all feeling? What is the mood like after this? You know, I was there after Knicks on Wednesday, and you know, people were obviously devastated. They felt horrible that this happened during their parade. How are your fellow crew members feeling tonight?
One word, numb. I mean, we're numb. We've had to yell at people. People keep asking for throws and stuff, and we're having to turn them down, and people have yelled at us, and we're just kind of numb right now. We are just, it's sad. Mm-hmm. It's just plastic. It's just beads. it's supposed to be fun, and it's just sad. It's sad day.
And hard to believe that this has happened two times in one carnival season as well, I'm sure.
Yes, I mean, considering it hasn't happened in decades that someone has passed because of attending a parade and having 2 long weekends, just it's alarming, it's sad, but something needs to be done. But that's for another day.
Okay. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for calling in with us. We wish you guys the best on your journey to wherever you guys are headed, and we're all thinking about you guys tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Devin.
All right, we're going to check out some tweets here. This is from actually a former WWL employee. This is they were on scene here. This is a video from the scene where NOPD was beginning to push people back right after this accident. You can see just kind of everybody standing still. The float is not moving, and you can see police right there in between those 2 floats that are tandem, hitched together, trying to push people back from the scene there. Here's a tweet here. This is Meg Ferris, who is on her way to the scene right now. She's there, I guess, as we see this picture here. People in the hospital at UMC looking out of the windows down on the fatality with float number 14. And we did just hear from the mayor that the family of this man who has just passed away in this accident is in the University Medical Center. The mayor says that she's making sure that they receive all of the assistance that they may need to process this and to move forward from this tragedy. Some more tweets here. This is another photo from the scene. You can see the police lights there. Somebody just got hit by a float at Endymion. Certainly a tragic scene there. Jonah, our former employee again here. I can't wrap my head around witnessing this, the screams, seeing CPR performed, and seeing them finally drape the sheet. I never imagined I would witness something so horrific. And we did see that sheet draped right over the hitch of those 2 tandem, the tandem float that was there for number 14, which again is a rule that the mayor just laid out not more than 10 minutes ago during her press conference with Superintendent Sean Ferguson as a result of the fatality Wednesday. And this fatality tonight, she has now called for no more tandem floats for the rest of Mardi Gras. That means any float that has more than 1 float tied together and is being towed by 1 tractor. This could really pose a very big problem for a lot of parades that are coming up tomorrow and Monday and Tuesday. And also, someone asked whether some of these Endymion floats that did not get to roll might be able to be repurposed and tack onto another parade sometime later this carnival season in the next few days. And the mayor said that adding them into future parades, because many of them are tandem, might just be impossible because of this new rule. Superintendent Sean Ferguson says that the tandem floats are not allowed until what he called further assessment, trying to figure out what led up to this man's death tonight, whether there can be anything done to increase the safety of the tandem floats. So that rule is something that we're going to have to, I guess, wait and see how this might affect the Bacchus parade tomorrow, Toth, and some other big parades that are coming up on Mardi Gras Day. Again, if you're just joining us, just before 7 o'clock, it was around 6:50, a man was hit and killed by a float in the Endymion parade. All that we know so far about how this happened is that a tandem float was likely involved in all of this. We don't know the name or the age of that man or how he ended up underneath this float, but Superintendent Sean Ferguson has says that this is definitely in an investigative phase at this point. You can still see police on the scene here, and you can see that yellow tape where they have set a perimeter, and there are no more people there. There are some kind of behind a barricade off to the left-hand side of your screen that you may see. Some of those are Endymion float riders. Some of them are just people who are standing there in absolute disbelief. We saw a video just a little bit ago that someone put on Twitter of right after this happened, and you can hear people yelling for police after they realize that someone has been stuck underneath this float, and police rush onto the scene there to try and save this man. We've heard from another witness that they attempted to perform CPR. Unfortunately, they were not able to save this man's life. This is a shot here of the coroner's van that is pulling into the area here. And we did see with the Knicks parade on Wednesday when this happened with a woman in her 50s who tripped over a hitch on the tandem float and fell. We did see that they had cleaned up the scene not too long after. We have a carnival historian, Ella Laborde, and she, okay, he is going to speak with us. He's on the phone with us right now to talk to us a little bit about the history of tandem floats. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Well, it's kind of a sad night. It's kind of a discouraging night, but
yes, absolutely. So you know the history of this. Can you talk to us a little bit just about the history of tandem floats here?
Tandem floats were actually sort of a Bacchus invention. When Bacchus always wanted to have more floats, and it's sort of like a resourceful way of combining a lot of people on floats. And it actually was one of the founders of Bacchus who tells the story that he was in an airplane at the airport and was getting ready to taxi, and he noticed the luggage carts that go around when they unload the luggage from the planes, and how they're able to go and turn at one point, and kind of borrowed that technology. He was an engineer, and from that developed the tandem float concept. And so it was Bacchus that started them and still uses them. And then Endymion, and especially the Super Cruise, use them. I mean, Endymion has enormous tandem floats, like 5 or 6 units to them, and so does Orpheus. This is a real problem for those parades, like a parade like Bacchus, which has many tandem floats, and so all of a sudden, if they're told that the night before the parade that they can't use tandem floats, they have a real problem. I hope there's a little bit of flexibility with the city, because it seems like there's other things you can do. You can have guards walking alongside every break in the floats where the tandem part is, to be sure that nobody enters that area. But to not allow tandem floats is pretty much doing major damage to those parades.
Yeah, and we're less than 24 hours until the Bacchus parade, which you said is really the inventor of all of these floats. I mean, is there anything at this hour that they could possibly do to make sure that everything rolls tomorrow?
I would think that the quickest thing you can do is to figure out a way, and it shouldn't be that hard, to get 2 people, one on each side of the brakes and tandem floats, 2 essentially security guards who are walking alongside to prevent anybody from entering that area. I mean, you can do that fix overnight, and then in the longer run, if you look at it in the future, maybe you can make laws about having fewer parts to tandem floats they have right now. But I think in terms of Bacchus tomorrow and Orpheus, you can fix it easily just by having people walk along those floats at the major points. Supposedly, as it is now, when a float stops, if there are policemen in the area, that the policemen go and stand where the break is as a way of stopping it. But sometimes the float stops in an area where there aren't policemen. And so I think what you need is somebody walking the entire route alongside each of the breaks in the tandem floats.
Now, unfortunately, this has happened 2 times now in just this carnival season, just this past week. Has this been an issue with tandem floats in the past, and why is there any logical explanation for why it might be an issue this season?
Because there are more and more tandem floats. That is really, really growing. I think from a crew perspective, it's more of an economical way of developing floats. It's also a better way to develop a theme. In the case of Endymion, they have their Pontchartrain Beach theme, and so you can use 4 or 5 floats to develop a theme, and you can have lights going from one way to the other, and so you can actually do more artistically. And the thing of the Captain Eddie's SS Endymion, that's just like a big steamboat, and all it is, it's an easy thing to, as you expand that, to develop another unit to the steamboat and just expand it. And so from a crew planning point of view, it's an economical way, and it's also gives you some artistic license. But yeah, the reason we're hearing more about this is because there's just more and more of these floats, and I agree that there needs to be a major discussion about this and how many units we can have. But I'm just saying that for tomorrow night and for Monday, the easy fix is to get guards walking alongside those floats at all the breaks.
All right. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow.
It's going to be a busy night for the captains.
Thank you so
you know,
much.
this means a lot because these crews, they have a lot of riders, and one reason they have a lot of riders is that they have a lot of people that come in from out of town, you know, who spend money and invest, and so there's a lot of money that goes into these crews, and I can imagine in Endymion, which has a lot of out-of-town riders, all these people who are wondering tonight, you know, what they're doing now. At least with Endymion, they have their extravaganza after at the convention center. So I assume they're going to bring the floats in there, and that the floats will be able to go in there, and so at least the riders can still have some kind of experience. But the economic impact of all this is really enormous. But even more important, I think, is just the social impact. I mean, all the people. You figure you got 1 million people in the streets tonight. I was watching this at South Scott and Canal Street, and the place is packed. And all of a sudden, all those people who were there, and you know, I was talking to a family that came in from Lafayette for this. Okay, and so all these people, and they see this, and all of a sudden, the parade's canceled. I mean, what do they think about Mardi Gras and the future? So it has a big impact.
All right, well, Errol Laborde, thank you so much. Carnival historian, giving us a little bit of background on all these tandem floats and what could happen. We appreciate you calling in with us today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
We're going to check in now with Duke Carter. He has been reporting on the parade all night long and he was there for the press conference just a short time ago, and he's going to tell us kind of what he's seeing. Duke.
Hey, thank you, Devin. Yes, we are here on scene here at the intersection of Canal and Galvez, where it's been a pretty hectic night, as you've been describing so far on the air. Right now, we can just tell you that we just wrapped up the press conference with Mayor Cantrell, Chief Sean Ferguson. Just to briefly recap for you all who may be just joining us now, that this incident happened a little bit before 7 o'clock this evening. For an unknown reason, a man was hit and killed by this float that you see right here in front of us, again, at the intersection of Canal and Galvez, in front of the hospital at this time. And so right now, you see a little bit of confusion right now with a gentleman that walked in front of our live shot right now. But again, right now you have the police presence on scene, EMS on scene, trying to piece together what exactly led to this incident here. Again, for some unknown reason, we have learned that a man was hit and killed by a float. And so what's happening right now is that you have a lot of other floats after 14 that are being rerouted here at Canal and Galvez for the Endymion parade. And so a little bit after that press conference just wrapped up, we kind of heard some float riders being very upset about the fact that their parade was closed. We heard some people screaming, "What's going on? What is happening?" So a lot of people still do not know what is going on at this time. Also want to mention as well that there are still a lot of people in this area, so a lot of people just having issues trying to call out. So cell service is still not in the best quality right now, so there's just an issue with that as well. But again, just to kind of paint the scene a little bit, you have a lot of people who were in shock when this happened, a lot of people who were just still trying to wrap their minds around, because not the fact that this has happened not once but twice within the same Carnival season. A lot of folks that we spoke to said they just never seen anything like this happen before in their entire lifetime, that something like this has happened, where in the same Carnival season, not one but unfortunately 2 people hit and killed by a tandem float, a float being connected. And so again, here's what you're seeing here, a live look on at the intersection of Canal and Galvez in front of the VA hospital, in front of UMC. Again, just many people still trying to get home, leave from the parade after learning that the Endymion parade has been canceled. Now, those floats before 14, those are going to continue, want to go to the convention center uptown, but these floats right here are being rerouted to another location. Now, as far as what's going to happen with these floats, no word yet, but we've heard from Mayor Cantrell, Chief Sean Ferguson, that they're no longer using tandem floats for the remaining of Carnival season until they can figure out why are these incidents still happening here especially for this carnival season. So again, this is what we're seeing here right now, that you have carnival, that you have riders still trying to figure out exactly what's happening with them right now. So again, heavy police presence, heavy EMS people on scene, again, still trying to figure out what exactly happened with this situation here on Canal and Galvis. We again spoke to another person who says that they just cannot believe that this actually happened, that again, that this is something that they've never experienced before, that that they just can't believe that someone will lose their life, especially during a parade when people should be having fun. So Devin, again, we're just still trying to figure out what exactly has happened with this latest incident, but for now, we're going to send it back to you in studio.
Duke, I know that we're on a pretty big delay here, so it's going to be a few seconds before you hear this question, but we do see some people kind of around you. Are those Endymion crew members? Is it mostly police? Are there some people behind that were at the parade and are just kind of lingering? Who's still out there? Around you, are those Endymion crew members, or is it mostly police? Are there some people behind that were at the parade and are just kind of lingering? Who's still out there?
Good question, Devin. So as of right now, what you have here on scene, you have, of course, you have police, you have EMS, but you, as you mentioned, there were some float riders, some crew riders on that Endymion parade, and you do still see some people still lingering here, again, I guess on a parade route, just again, trying to piece together what exactly is happening here. But we did see most of the float riders, so people were still on their floats. They're being rerouted to another location, but as of right now, you still have other crew members who are on that float that you see in front of us right here at Canal and Galvez. Those crew members have disbanded and left to another location at this time. But right now, again, this is what you see right now here at Canal going toward the Mississippi River. You just see people just at this point leaving the parade. Some people are just still trying to piece together and just in shock, again, that not one but two incidents of people being hit and killed by tandem floats within the same carnival season. When we were out here, it was pretty much hectic, busy scene. People just cannot believe, again, that this happened within the same carnival season, just days apart from the incident with the Knicks parade and now the Endymion parade, excuse me. So again, you have heavy policing. We saw Mayor Cantrell. We saw a lot of city council members, Jason Williams, as well as Jay Banks here on scene. They didn't speak to us on camera, but we did see their presence out here as well. We saw Fire Chief McConnell out here as well. Again, all the top dogs in city and local government just on scene, again, just processing, again, how another person was hit by a tandem float. So again, to answer your question in short, Devin, briefly, is that, yeah, you do see a lot of people still here on scene, Canal going toward the Mississippi River. You do see a lot of people that way. The crew members who were on the float that unfortunately where the man was killed, they have left. But as far as the remaining crew members who have not been able to get down this route, they're being rerouted to another location. But the remaining floats, as in 14, let's clarify that real quickly. The floats from before this one right here at Canal and Galvez, they're going to continue on to the Convention Center Uptown. The remaining floats in the parade, those are going to be going to another location where they will not be able to participate in the parade. Again, no word yet on what exactly will happen with those parades, but city leaders, Chief Sean Ferguson, as well as Mayor Cantrell, no longer going to be using the tandem floats during the parade. Devin?
All right, Duke, thank you so much. Now, as those tandem floats go, and that new rule that was just implemented within the hour by Chief Sean Ferguson and also Mayor Cantrell, we have heard that it has sent some captains really scrambling. There are 5 parades in New Orleans tomorrow. One of them, Toth, our news director, is a crew member of Toth. He says there are 15 tandem floats in that parade, and the captain is trying to figure out what they're going to do about this, since there are going to be no tandem floats allowed through the rest of this Mardi Gras season, this carnival season. Of course, there are 5 in total. Bacchus is another one that does have a lot of tandem floats, and at this hour, we're not quite sure what's going to happen, or if there could maybe be some kind of a compromise reached. We spoke with a carnival historian just a bit ago who said maybe they can have guards walking in between each connection of those tandem floats to make sure that no one tries to cross in between. That's just something that we're going to have to wait and see. Now, we did speak with Stephen Malan's son. He is on our assignment desk here at WWL, and he's also an Endymion crew member. We spoke with him by phone just a short time ago, and he did tell us that most of the communication that the crew members were getting was coming from the crew. They were currently being rerouted down Galvez, weren't quite sure where they were going at the time, and they've been instructed not to throw anything else off of that float and basically to shut down the party for the night. He described the mood on that float as numb. All the crew members are really feeling this, and we saw that on Wednesday night as well with the crew of Nix right after the remaining floats in their parade were not able to roll. You saw a lot of people just totally devastated, crying for the person who was unfortunately killed, and it's a tough thing for a lot of these crew members who are on top of these floats, as we heard from Stephen Melanson just a little bit ago. So again, we are not quite sure at this hour who this person was who was killed in this accident or how old they were. Mayor Cantrell has said that that person's family is in the University Medical Center and has spoken with the mayor and is going to get the things that they need to be able to get through all of this. Again, we did hear from the police chief and the mayor earlier. Here's a little bit more of what they had to say.
Good evening, but absolutely not a good evening. We have another fatality during a parade involving a float. The lead on this, which continues to be an investigation, is our Superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department, Sean Ferguson. As you can see that we're joined here by our public safety team, in addition to members of the New Orleans City Council. We have canceled the remainder of the Endymion parade for this evening. Moving forward throughout the Mardi Gras season 2020, we're also eliminating the use of tandem floats moving forward. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Ferguson.
As the mayor said, this is a very sad and unfortunate situation that we're dealing with right now. At approximately 6:55 p.m., an adult male was struck by a float near the intersection of Canal and Galvis, and being struck, that resulted into his death. Anything before float number 14, we're allowed to continue along the parade route, but anything after float number 14, we're disbanding right here at Galvis and Canal Street. I have made a decision that we will not allow any more tandem floats to continue throughout Carnival season 2020 until we do a further assessment for the safety measures that we could possibly take, do better approaches throughout the season, seasons going forward, not this season, but seasons going forward. Our fatality unit is the lead on this investigation. We do not know what led to his death, and that's a part of the investigation, and we can answer more questions as we give him more information. So again, this is an unfortunate fatality that we're dealing with once again in Carnival 2020.
Absolutely. We have allowed, we have our family members in the UMC where we are making sure that they have the correct care necessary to deal with the aftermath of the fatality at this particular time.
What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry?
When you say floats going in tandem, what do you mean?
The tandem, those floats that you are seeing that are connected, you may see one tractor that may be pulling 3 or 4 different floats at one time. We're no longer allowing that now. We will only allow one tractor and one float to be pulled by that one tractor.
I know you said that you don't know the circumstances of everything, but is this obviously the reason why you're discontinuing the tandem floats? Do you anticipate that was part of the reason why?
We really do not know at this time, but again, this is a tandem float that is involved in, again, a second fatality of this season, so I do have my concern. And I think we have to do our due diligence in making sure that this is a safe carnival for everyone. And in doing so, I think we have to do our job in evaluating the safety measures that could be put into place moving forward.
Do you have any status on what's going to be happening with the remaining floats within Endymion, if they're going to be participating in any other crews
Right now, that has not been discussed, and just as I mentioned the other day with regards to Knicks, we're in a very tight window right now with regards to cancellations and rescheduling of parades. Tomorrow we have 5 parades that are they're scheduled to roll on tomorrow. So we have a very narrow window when it comes to rescheduling anyone.
And not only that, just keeping in mind the decision that was recently made to not move forward with the use of tandem floats, which contributes to the Endymion floats here. So any thought of using them into or adding them into future parades, it's pretty much prevented based on the decisions that we've made thus far.
Is there going to be a change to the presence of NOP for tomorrow's floats?
Presence, what do you mean?
In the way that they're laid out near the floats?
Well, the response of NOPD was never the issue. The greatest response was something that was rendered. One experienced and expressed even by the float riders based on the way that we were able to respond in record time. So that was never the issue.
And so from this point on to the end of the route, that's canceled. But as far as what is going on back there in the beginning of the parade route, that's still going.
So what you see behind you right now is the parade being disbanded right now. The floats are going in one direction. They're being relocated to a location where they will be picked up by their buses. The non-float elements are being redirected in another direction where they could be bused to their schools or whatever it is that they may be coming from. But anything before number float 14 is now continuing along the parade route as we speak.
Definitely. And so it was float number 14.
Float number 14, yes, ma'am.
So thank you so much, and we'll provide you with more information as we learn more based on the investigations that is ongoing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was for the mayor and Chief Sean Ferguson. What you were seeing live on the screen there was the float, the Captain Eddie SS Endymion, that's float number 14, where this fatality happened, was being moved out. We're going to go live now to Meg Ferris in just a moment here. Here's a live photo here of that float slowly being moved. We just saw it a minute ago being moved. You can see all the police that are on the scene there. This again is float number 14, the Captain Eddie SS Endymion, which struck and killed a man earlier this evening during the Endymion parade. The investigation began right away. Police ran right in as soon as this happened and have not moved since from that float since this all happened. So we're getting kind of an indication here that they might be moving the float out of the road sometime soon. All the floats that were behind it were rerouted down Galvez, and they were on their way to the convention center where the extravaganza for Endymion is set to happen tonight. Now, we're being told by some people who are at the extravaganza that the parade is about to enter. The party is still continuing there. However, it does have a somber mood there. People know what has gone on. They know what has just happened right at the beginning of this parade here. So we're going to go live to Meg Ferris. She is at the convention center, outside the convention center there, for the extravaganza. Meg, what can you tell us so far?
Okay, yeah, I don't need somebody, you know what I'm saying? Okay, thank you very much. We're just getting set up out here. We decided to come to the New Orleans Convention Center, where of course the Endymion Extravaganza is this year, because the Superdome is being redone, and those first 13 floats are rolling, and we're seeing people in their evening gowns, their ball gowns, getting ready to go in. And I stopped you, you're getting ready to go in. What is your name?
Fallon.
And how did you hear about this tragedy?
Friends actually texted me because they knew I was coming, and they just wanted to let me know what happened. And they were like, it's crazy. So.
What did all your friends who you're getting ready to go in the extravaganza, what was their reaction to the fatality?
They just don't understand it. Like, I mean, it's simple. It's Mardi Gras, stay out the way, catch speeds, don't get in front of a moving bus. So, I'm sad for his family and everything, but I've never heard of it. The 2 is just crazy.
That's what you were saying. You're 27. The last one was 38 years ago, well before you were born, and now within less than a week, there have been 2 fatalities hit by a Mardi Gras float.
yeah, I just really think it's crazy. I just don't understand. Like, I don't know if they're drinking. Like, you have to like question, like, are they drinking? Is there something else involved? Because it's just, I'm not saying they're dumb, because they're not. It's just crazy. I've never heard of that.
Emotional level, did this kind of, I know you're with a whole group, did this kind of put a damper or kind of change the mood of the whole group going into party?
It really does, because, you know, because now you have to think about their family. I mean, it's pretty much ruined the night, because you only get 13 floats. And I mean, we come here and we expected nothing to put a damper on the night, and it really did, yeah.
Well, thank you for taking time out, and I know your group is waiting for you. Yes. So we'll be here at the New Orleans Convention Center getting reaction from people who have come here to go to the Extravaganza. We are hearing that a lot of people here know, of course, because of social media and that type of thing. I did talk to someone with another organization who is called to say the media, there's much more to be learned. Why, some of these floats can cost $700,000, $800,000, these tandem floats. What's going to happen with Bacchus? What's going to happen with Orpheus on Monday night when all this money has already been spent? And can they not roll these tandem floats out of the den? With the announcement that Chief Ferguson made a little earlier. So I am hearing from people who I know in other crews who have a lot of questions. They want to know, was the Mardi Gras Council called and talked to think of other solutions possibly before a knee-jerk reaction of not having any tandem floats. But of course, this is what's unfolding. We don't know. I don't have the answers to these. These are just questions that people who are part of putting on the greatest free show on earth are calling and asking and wondering what's going to happen. And I'm sure much more of that's going to be unfolding with the mayor, the NOPD, as we get more facts about all this. And here at Channel 4, we are digging into all these things, and of course we'll be following this on social media, wwltv.com. So stay with us, and we'll bring you a lot more reaction from these people who are members of Endymion and have come here tonight. Back to you.
Right, Meg, thank you so much. Before we let you go, I want to let you know, I know you are outside the convention center. We're hearing that inside people are giving their condolences. They're saying that they support the decision by the mayor these are crew officials saying that they support the decision by the mayor and Chief Ferguson to, nix the floats, for the tandem floats for the next few days here. But where you're standing right now, do you see any floats coming in? What's behind you here?
Yes, and to answer your question, there are going to be people on both sides. They're just people who want to know more. And that's with any story that's fluid, anything that's breaking, people have questions. And they want to know why and work through all these things. So there are going to be people on both sides who have different opinions. And of course, it's hard to form opinions when you don't know the full story. To answer your second question, Devin, we are on Convention Center Boulevard, right outside of the hall where people are going in. We saw one or two floats go by. But there's still some way down Convention Center Boulevard that have not come. Now, I understand that we have an update. I see one coming way down the street. We'll show it to you as it comes. Very few people are outside, but the big lull in between the floats, of course, we haven't seen any bands.
Meg,
They're not the bands, and usually the bands would go in and play.
Meg, we just heard, just
Devin.
moments ago, they announced on the stage that the remaining floats that did not roll tonight or were cut off during this whole event went to the Superdome, and all of the riders that were on them are being bused to the Extravaganza over at the convention center. So all you would be seeing was probably the first 13 that were able to continue on that route.
Yes, that's correct. And I'm with TJ here, my photographer, who's working this breaking story. And the one float is about to come by. Hold on, we have some technical issues. I'm going to turn. You'll see it just in a minute come up. But of course, it is a tandem float. This is number 12. So in my estimation, we have one more after this, and I do see it way down Convention Center Boulevard. So it's going too fast for me to run up and ask any of these riders if they know what's going on. You assume that someone's told them, but I just don't know at this point. Let me see if I can get some of these other people who are coming up here to come talk to us, Devin. Excuse me.
We're live on the air. Have you heard about the fatality that happened earlier?
Yes, I did.
How did you hear about it?
I heard about it from my mom texting me with the information. Yeah, so I was coming down here to come to the Extravaganza. So I decided if I was going to come, I decided to still come, but there's a lot of traffic out there right now.
I see you're with a whole crew. Has this kind of emotionally changed the spirit of tonight, or?
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a downer. I feel, you know, really bad for the family, things like that, but it's it's definitely dampened the spirit a little bit.
Now, were you riding on a float and changed, or no, you were just coming to this
No,
Extravaganza?
ma'am, I was just coming.
We were just told that all the others from 15 on to the end went to the Superdome, got off the float, and they're being bussed over here.
Oh, really?
So those other floats will not be coming in.
Okay, so it's just the first few?
The first 13.
Yes, okay.
And without the bands.
Oh, really? Okay, no, I didn't know that.
Yes, okay.
So, but yeah, it's definitely put a dampen on it, and like I said, I really feel, you know, bad for the family of everybody involved.
You from New Orleans?
Yes, ma'am, born and raised.
Okay, it hasn't been fatalities like this in 38 years, and now we've had 2 in 1 week. Your reaction?
I've never heard of anything like this. I know I heard on the newscast a little while ago, they say, you know, on average they might get 1 a year or something like that, but to have 2 happen in, I think it's been 48, 72 hours, something like that. It's something I've never heard of.
You know, 1 in 38 years, it's been a while. So what is your name?
It's Bobby Rodriguez.
All right, Bobby Rodriguez, thank you very much for joining us when I grab you. And this, as you can see right here, House of Bourbon number 13, this is it. This is the last one that is coming here because, of course, the fatality, the tragedy that happened over on Galvez and Canal Street was up, was number 14, and that was a tandem float. And as you can see, this is a triple float, double tandem, which most of these are. So I don't know if these riders know. They're throwing things to us. Don't know if they know what's going on at this point, but we'll ask if we see any of them, we'll ask them. Let me walk over here. I see some other people, see if we can talk to them. Ma'am, we're live, on Channel 4. I'm Meg Farris, and have you heard about the fatality that happened earlier?
We did just hear about it, yes.
How did you hear about it?
On social media.
What is your reaction to how it's changed the evening?
It's just devastating. We're so sorry for the family and the crew. They put so much, you know, hard work into the parades, but we're so devastated for the family.
And what we're just told is that was number 13, so that's it. The other ones all went to the Superdome. Riders are getting off, and then they're going to be bussed here. So the other floats will not come and parade around here.
Yes, that's what we heard also. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Your whole group that you're with, what are people saying? Are their hearts heavy, or they just kind of put a damper on the normal way you'd celebrate?
Yeah, it's absolutely put a damper on the Carnival. And so, you know, you can't help but think of the family and the spectators who saw everything happen. I mean, that's just devastating.
Yes, very, very difficult. And you're out having a good time, and you expect to go home after the parade. What is your name?
Lisa Elmore.
Lisa, thank you very much. How long have you been coming to this Endymion Extravaganza?
Several years. I don't know. We've lost count.
Yes.
Several years.
Yes.
But,
and it just feels like feels different.
It's a different mood tonight, absolutely.
These are crew members right here?
Yes, those are.
Let me ask you.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, I'm Meg Farris from Channel 4, and we're just doing interviews. We're talking live. How did y'all hear about the fatality?
Well, I can do it.
You don't want to? Okay,
I
didn't. Oh, yes, sir. Okay. That was a police officer who was dressed in his tuxedo. So I did not know, and obviously they're under orders that they cannot speak. They have to have a media representative talk on the air, Devin, as you well know. So we're going to keep trying to get more people's reaction because the show is over, at least on the outside here, because all 13 floats have come by. Devin, back to you.
All right, Meg, thank you so much. It certainly seems as though it has put a damper on the evening. We're nearing the top of the hour here. We do want to give an update to everyone if you are just joining us for what has happened. You are taking a live look now at Galvez and Canal Street. This is float number 14 of the Endymion Parade. Just before 7 o'clock this evening, a man was hit and killed by that float. Now, what you're seeing, that is the Captain Eddie SS Endymion. It is a 3-part tandem, which means it has 2 hitches in it there. What we are hearing is that those connections, those tandem pieces were somehow affiliated with this man's death. We are not quite sure at this time how exactly that happened. We don't know his name. We don't know his age. We do know he was there with his family. His family is now in the University Medical Center and has been, the mayor has visited them to talk with them about what happened here. This, again, all happened before 7 o'clock, and as a result, floats 1 through 13 made it to the Extravaganza at the Convention Center. They proceeded as normal. Floats 15 through the end of the parade, which is more than 30 floats, were rerouted. They went down Galvez, and they eventually made it to the Superdome. From there, all of those riders are being bused to the Extravaganza at the Convention Center. That's where we just checked in with Meg Ferris there. Now, we have heard that inside that Extravaganza, crew officials on the stage gave their condolences to this man's family. They also say that they support a decision by the mayor, which just came out, to effectively ban all tandem floats for the rest of the carnival season of this year. In addition, they said that the party is still happening inside the Extravaganza there, but it does have a bit of a somber mood. You heard Meg just spoke with some people there who just said that this kind of puts a damper on everything. But Duke Carter has also been out there following this story all evening long. He is on the scene right there at Canal and Galvez. Duke, can you tell us who's out there, and is there anything new that you've learned or can observe just from being out there?
Y'all can get back here. Y'all can get back here. Y'all can get back here. I'm telling you, I had all the time to get back.
As of right now, I can tell you that for the most part, those those floats that you all mentioned that have been rerouted to the Superdome, that has wrapped up here on Canal and Galvis right now. So we've also seen the fire truck come out here to deal with the scene as best as they possibly can. And you also see the float 14 where the incident has happened. That is still on scene. It moved up a little bit, but that float is still here on scene as well. But if you turn, again, going toward the opposite way on Canal and Galvis, you can see people removing some of the barricades over there at this time. You can also see still heavy police presence here on scene as we wrap things up here on this end of Canal and Galvis at this time. But those floats have all been rerouted to the Superdome. Floats 15 on, and those previous floats, 13 before the float involving the accident, those floats haven't gone to the Convention Center at this time. So again, we're still trying to get more information about what exactly happened at this time. But again, the scene here at Canal and Galvez slowly wrapping up. As you can see, crews are putting barricades away now that the Endymion parade, the remaining floats in the Endymion parade, those have been rerouted to the Superdome and the parade has been canceled. So this is a scene here in front of, the VA hospital as well as UMC. Crews just working hard, just trying to get everything back to normal as quickly as possible. But as you can see, fire trucks, police, EMS, still on scene. As far as float riders, they have all gone, especially the ones that were on the, unfortunately, the float where the incident happened. They have all left as well. As right now, what you still have on scene, maybe a couple of onlookers, just still in disbelief and shock that this happened. Just processing how two fatal accidents involving tandem floats happened within one carnival season. So as Meg and as you were saying, Devin, it's going to really play a major role into what's going to happen with Bacchus, what's going to happen with Orpheus, what's going to happen with those parades for Mardi Gras Day with Zulu and Rex, to say that according to city leaders, specifically Sean Ferguson and Mayor Cantrell, that they're no longer allowing any more tandem floats for this carnival season until they can actually make it safer and rule out all the other possible outcomes, just to make sure, again, people are safe for this carnival season. So we are, again, wrapping up here on scene. We see some sort of chopper overhead at this time. But again, the scene here at Canal and Galvis slowly starting to clear up. There were many people out here maybe about an hour or two or so ago before, I should say, when everything started happening. But now you can kind of see the neutral ground. You can kind of see some of the remaining of what's happening here at Canal and Galvis. But again, this is what you're seeing. you can see a chopper overhead here at UMC. Again, just making sure everything is clear over our heads. But for the most part, as far as those float riders, they have all disbanded. They have left their floats. They're no longer on the floats. They have left the scene. But those remaining floats, they've all been rerouted to the Superdome. Devin?
All right, Duke, thank you so much. And this may seem a little bit like deja vu to some of you. This has not happened in decades, but yet this is the second time this carnival season that we have had a fatality due to a float. This happened Wednesday night during the Krewe of Endymion parade as well. It was a woman in her 50s who tripped over the hitch in a tandem float and fell and was run over by that back half of the float there. Horribly tragic scene. It shut down the parade then as well, right on Magazine Street. And so we were seeing a lot of people on Twitter when this first happened, when tonight's incident first happened. A lot of people could not believe that it was a second incident. We've heard that a lot, that this has not happened in decades, and yet we're seeing this for a second time this carnival season. I want to talk a little bit more about the rule that Duke just mentioned, and he touched on it just a little bit. It was a rule that Superintendent Sean Ferguson and Mayor Latoya Cantrell just announced a few hours ago. They have eliminated tandem floats for the rest of this carnival season. That's any float that has one tractor and multiple floats attached to the back of it. The reason being that the first incident with the Krewe of Endymion parade involved a tandem float, and this one appears to as well. We saw a tarp draped over two pieces of those floats earlier tonight as the police began their investigation into tonight's incident. So they have essentially banned some of the tandem floats. Our news director is in Toth, which is intended to roll tomorrow. He says that there are 15 tandem floats in that parade, and that this rule has sent captains scrambling. This could have a very big impact on the parades that are scheduled tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. We are going to go now to Councilman Joe Giarrusso. He was at the Extravaganza. I believe we have him on the phone. Can you hear me, Councilman?
I can hear you, Devin. Good evening.
Good evening. What can you tell? You said you were at the Extravaganza earlier tonight. Can you tell us kind of about the mood? What's going on there?
Well, I was at the Extravaganza. I walked in, and all of a sudden, my phone blew up between reports of what happened, both from City Hall, my staff, the police. The media pulled me aside and said, hey, we want you to come talk about this. I think people are just trying to figure out what happened. The other big issue, too, is remember a lot of the senior leadership for Carnival crews are at the very beginning floats. So I don't know how much contact the captain or lieutenants have been able to have with the people about the Extravaganza and how much longer that's going to go on. But it certainly cast a pall upon the whole evening, and people were very concerned about what happened and wanted as much information as they could get.
We've been talking just a little bit about a lot really, about this rule for no more tandem floats for the rest of the carnival season. Did you have any idea that this was going to be implemented tonight? Was this kind of a knee-jerk reaction? And either way, what do you think about it?
Well, I don't know that I call it knee-jerk at this point. Look, I've said before, you've had now 2 deaths in just a couple of days, and it looks like they were both caused by tandem floats. I don't know what other choice the city had. If somebody else died tomorrow or Monday as a result of the tandem float, the city would be getting toasted for having made that decision. And so I think at this point it's better safe than sorry. I understand that people can be upset about that they feel like that's what Mardi Gras has been all about. But at this point, you have 2 people who are dead who've been killed by getting too close to floats. We don't know the circumstances around that. There's only 3 more days of Carnival. We have 5 parades tomorrow. It just seems like it's better to be safe.
You know, this has not happened in decades, and now here we are, 72 hours apart, something like that, with 2 deaths here. What's your take on that, as someone who represents so many people in the city?
Right. I mean, you know, look, I represent obviously the mid-city area in addition to Lakeview, Uptown, Carrollton, and my concern for the last few years has been bicycle and pedestrian traffic. You had a couple things that happened with regards to that around Endymion, and so obviously trying to keep that heightened, keep focus on the fact that you don't want people who've been drinking behind the wheel of a car. NOPD made that point really strongly the other day. That's important. You just don't think that, my gosh, after decades of this happening, I think I saw the last float was back in the 2000s. As you said, you're going to have 2 within 72 hours.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that there's, do you anticipate that there might be some changes next year to what we see, not just if this tandem rule lasts, but maybe with barriers, any kind of safety changes that you can foresee happening next Carnival year?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to see what happened tonight. I know everybody wants to know what are we going to do about it right now. I think first we have to get the circumstances of what happened tonight not clear yet on that. Look, I know that Endymion had paid for additional barricades and security. They specifically brought in Jefferson Parish. They had even been talking about doing some additional security measures. And the other point, Devin, I'd make is, remember, today is a really tough day logistically for the police. They have a crew in Algiers. They ride on the West Bank for Nampak. Then you have Iris and Tux that are uptown, and Endymion that goes through Mid-City. So all of these resources get spread out, and I guess the question is going to become, how safe can we make it? How do you still make sure that people are having a good time, and what can the city and the crews do to better communicate and have some safety measures so this doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm. My final question for you, going into the last 3 days of Carnival here, do you have any message to people who are either in parades, going to parades, anything that they should keep in mind or that you want them to know?
Well, I guess the biggest thing, obviously, is to be careful. Nothing that is thrown from those floats is worth your life. It's plastic and can be replaced. You can't. And obviously, there won't be any more tandem floats, but I think this really is a time for us to be incredibly careful, be incredibly vigilant. We as a city will obviously continue to communicate about that, but I think people need to talk about it themselves and know that you're out on a parade route, you're there to have a good time, but remember, these are big tractors, big floats, and that things can happen, and don't put yourself in jeopardy unnecessarily.
All right. Councilman Giarrusso, thank you so much for calling in with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. What you're seeing right now, we've got a live picture here. This is float number 14, the Captain Eddie SS Endymion, being moved out of the area where it had been stopped while that police investigation began. This is the float that was involved in that fatality earlier tonight, just around 7 o'clock, where a man died. This is it's tough to see from this angle. We're pretty far away where our crew is here, but this is a 3-part float that is connected in the middle of each part there. So this is technically a tandem, which we've been talking about all night here. We are not quite sure how this man was caught in this float or died, but as a result, tandem floats have been eliminated for the rest of Mardi Gras. So again, what you're seeing, this float is moving out. This is the last of the Endymion floats to remain. Of course, it was staying behind because police were investigating, and of course they had to clean everything up and make way for that float to get out of there. This is, again, float number 14. Numbers 1 through 13 continued down the route of the Endymion parade route as normal. Floats 15 on were rerouted to the Superdome with all of the riders on them, and all of those riders are being bused to the convention center for their extravaganza, which just began a short time ago. At this time, again, we are not sure how this man passed away. All we know is that we believe that a tandem float was involved, just as it was Wednesday night, where there was a woman in her 50s who was also killed by a float. So at this time, this investigation has just begun. Superintendent Sean Ferguson said they are not only investigating this incident, but they're also assessing the tandem floats and how they may have played a role in this tragic incident tonight as well. The family of this man is at the University Medical Center. Mayor Latoya Cantrell said that she paid them a visit and was making sure that they were okay to kind of move forward. We also spoke with Stephen Malan. He's with the assignment desk here at WWL. And hold on. Wow. I just heard from our producer here. Stephen called us back, said that he and his float have arrived at the Superdome. As I just mentioned, floats 15 on were taken to the Superdome, and he is waiting for a bus, and it may be up to an hour wait for him to get on a bus. So certainly some frustrated people there in Endymion. He had told us on the phone that a lot of the communication was coming through the crew to everyone that was on the floats to let them know what was going on. They were instructed not to throw anything else off of the float. At first they weren't really sure where they were going. Then they were rerouted to the Superdome. And he kind of described the mood as numb. Everyone there is really feeling the pain and knows how tragic this is and how sad this is, and such a horrible thing to happen during such a what's supposed to be a very fun and celebratory and joyous season here in New Orleans. We also spoke with Meg Ferris. She was outside the Extravaganza at the convention center. She spoke with some people who also said there that it kind of cast a bit of a somber veil over everything. People are aware that this has happened. They're sensitive to it. They're honoring these people. The crew officials for Endymion got up on stage and gave their condolences to this man's family. And Meg is still live outside the Extravaganza at the convention center. We're going to go to her now. Meg, I understand that you are with someone who might be able to give us a little bit more information. What are you learning?
Yes, Devin. I'm with Todd Elliott, who is a member of Endymion. And what float were you on,
20B,
Todd?
20B.
20, way in the back. First of all, how did y'all even hear the news? How did it filter back?
We stopped, I guess, a handful of blocks before Canal and Galvez. It was just word of mouth at that point. We did see the float where the incident occurred that had stopped. We took a right on Galvez to go towards Poydras and kind of away from the incident and to where we are now.
Were people on the float checking their phones, or were people from the crowd yelling up? Or
it was mostly just phones, and phone signal was very spotty, so it was just whatever we could get. It was choppy, to say the best.
Todd, what was the emotion of the men on the float when they heard this?
Disappointment, frustration, obviously, sadness. Well, you hear a lot of things quickly. You weren't sure what had happened. It just had happened a few days ago with the death on the other parade. It seemed very familiar, so no one was quite sure what to make of it.
Didn't know if it was a rumor or what. Let me ask you, so you were brought, all of the floats from 15 on went to the Superdome, and what happened with the buses? Because you walked over here from the dome.
Some of the buses may still be there. I just thought it'd be faster to walk here than wait for the bus. I'm a fast walker, I guess, so yeah.
But you said you saw buses and they weren't moving, or what was happening?
Yeah, I would guess most of the members that were on floats 14 and behind are either on buses now or still waiting for buses. I'm guessing that's what's going on now.
But buses weren't there waiting, ready to go, or were they?
The buses were there, but I mean, rerouting traffic in the CBD of New Orleans during parade season at the last minute is mayhem. So I wasn't counting on the buses to be able to move anytime soon.
Is this your first time to ride in Endymion, or are you experienced rider?
Second time in Endymion. I've ridden in a handful of other parades before, so somewhat experienced.
It's been 38 years since we lost someone from a float, and now 2 in less than a week. What are your thoughts on just the whole situation?
Very tragic. Obviously, statistically unlikely. So I hope it's not an overreaction by the powers that be to really limit Mardi Gras. This is the flagship, occasion of New Orleans. I hope they don't do anything to negatively impact it. That's about it.
Yeah, and members pay a lot of money to be in the organization. Those tandem floats cost a lot of money, and now the chief is talking about not letting tandem floats for the rest of this carnival season ride or roll.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the tandem floats allow more riders, more floats. I don't know whether that's a good or bad thing. I guess that's up to everyone else. So,
Todd, how did they get all the buses so last minute to the Superdome? How was that going? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay. Anything else that you heard or wanted to let us know about tonight?
Just terribly tragic that such things would happen so closely to the Knicks tragedy the other night. I hope that Mardi Gras can stay what we know and enjoy and not become something that's more toned down for safety reasons.
Todd Elliott, thank you so much. I know you're going in and trying to enjoy the rest of the night. I did want to add that I just spoke with a rider who is riding in Toth tomorrow, who talked to his captain and the captain of Toth, because there are Tandem floats ready to roll in Toth, said no decision has been made yet. So I'm trying to keep track of other parades and other organizations that are trying to make decisions, and we understand that the other organizations that are supposed to roll on Sunday and of course Monday are in meetings right now trying to make those decisions, and if we hear any of that, we will definitely bring that to you. Devin, we're going to wait for those buses here outside of the New Orleans Convention Center when they come and try to talk to more people like Todd. We just saw someone, and I'm only assuming this, who was still in his costume, who was on a bike. So he may have gotten a bike and ridden here and not waited for those buses to bring him. But right now, those buses have not gotten here. That was the first rider still in costume who we saw, who said he's a fast walker and just walked here. That's it for right now. Forgive me, I'm just looking around to see if there are any other people who we could talk to while we can. So I'll toss it back to you in the studio, and as soon as we hear more, we'll come back on the air. Devin?
All right, Meg, yeah, and I'm not sure if you heard right before I sent things out to you, we spoke with our colleague, heard from our colleague, Stephen Melanson, who said he is at the Superdome right now and could be waiting up to an hour for a bus. So it might be a long while before some people start trickling in if they aren't a fast walker or able to grab a bike, I guess.
Let me, I see a crew member. Let me go just see right here. Sir, are you a crew member of Endymion? How did you get here? I'm sorry. You walked here? The buses aren't rolling right now?
No, they're rolling. They're rolling.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So, are y'all crew members of Endymion? No. Okay. Are y'all? You came here to the Extravaganza? We're going live, just telling people how the night has changed. Have y'all heard? Okay. All right. All right. That's okay. Let me. I see another crew member right here. Excuse me, Devin, 1 second. Sir, will you talk? Are you a crew member of Endymion?
Yes.
Can you come talk to us, please?
Sure. Let me put this down.
Okay. All right. How did you get here? Did you get here on the bus from the Superdome, or did you walk?
I walked. I walked from the dome.
I'm just hearing that a lot of the buses, it could be an hour or so before they get here. Is that what you heard? Is that why you walked?
No, we just thought it was a good idea to walk. I mean, during the Saints games, we walked from Poirier Street in St. Charles to the Dome, so it wasn't, or we go to Drago's from there.
And did it seem like there were enough buses for all the crew members who were on Float 15 all the way to the end?
I did not see any of the buses, but I wasn't looking for them either, because the guys that I was with, we decided to walk here.
So, how long did it take you to walk from the Dome?
Probably 15, 20 minutes.
Probably faster than going by car with the traffic that's out there. I saw one person, it looked like he took a bike. I see a few of the blue bikes behind you. Tell me, what float were you on?
I was on 24.
So how did the news filter to you? Was it social media, and what was the reaction on the float with all the other men?
First we heard from one of the police officers, and then the crew, Endymion, sent out a group message saying, quit throwing, this would happen, and then informed us that buses would be waiting, and everyone after Float 13.
So an officer who was down on the street yelled up to you?
Yes.
What did y'all think when you heard that?
It was horrifying. Horrifying. Like, that's the second one in, 4 or 5 days? And when was the last time that happened?
38 years ago, to be exact, yes.
So it's been a very long time. So it's shocking. The first one was shocking, and the second one was like, oh my God, it's happening again. So I don't know what the answer is, and I'm sure they'll figure it out. They have big brains behind all this, and they'll figure it out.
So they moved the bands out, and then they rerouted all the other floats. They followed each other in line on a detour?
Yes, to South Galvez, right before where it happened at, and then back to the Superdome on Poiriers. Then we disembark on parties.
And they told y'all not to throw. I understand that there's some people who were still throwing a little bit.
Not everyone got the message, and then we pass it on to the fellow members on the floats, on our float. Quit throwing. They want to disperse the crowd, I'm thinking. Let everything calm down and get us out of there.
What was the mood like? Was it
somber? Very somber. And it was like, that's not good. So.
Just quiet, kind of, when you say somber, or were people really upset, crying? Or?
No, not upset, crying, but upset that it happened again. You know, that it's happened in so short a time that maybe the public should know about it if they didn't hear about it before, and should it happen again, and then it does. So it was a bit shocking. Like I said, it was shocking.
So all the riders have their cell phones with them, as everyone does, and you
can't hear it.
No,
You can't
but
hear
you feel a vibration or whatever, and you see from the captain, from Ed, saying, "This has happened. Stop throwing." Yeah.
Correct.
Group email to everyone.
Yes, and that's what happened. And after everything settled down, and some of the people didn't check their phones, and it's like, we have to quit throwing. Just settle out, sit down, let everybody disperse until they get us out of here, basically.
Okay, sir, anything else that you noticed that you can tell us that I haven't asked you?
No, I'm just sorry for the person that got killed, and I feel for their family. And the only other thing to say is stay away from, if it goes underneath the float, is like I was throwing things to kids. If they didn't catch anyone in the float, you say, hang on, I'm going to throw you another one. Just stay there. Don't go after it.
Because you're aware of getting close and what could happen.
Right. I grew up here, and I know how it is. And I'm not saying I didn't do it when I was a kid. But it's like usually somebody grabbed me and pulled me back.
Okay.
So, but I know how it is. It's hard to control certain situations, and everyone has to think a little bit.
Thank you for stopping and talking to us. What is your name, please?
Ted Bethay.
Ted, thank you very, very much. I'm told, too, that by other sources, that even if there were to put these barricades that we're all familiar with, that we all grew up with in New Orleans, along entire parade route, it couldn't possibly cover both sides of the street for an entire parade route. In fact, one of my sources said it would cover about a third of the parade route. So that is not an option because there just aren't enough barricades to do that. So again, you heard from our assignment editor, Stephen, who was on a float saying it could be an hour before the rest of them get here, and here there was another person who just walked. So Devin, I see another one walking up. Let me see if I can get him and see if he did the same thing, if he'll go live with us with this breaking news. Sir, you're clearly a crew member. Did you have to walk? Okay, all right. Well, he is having a little fun with some adult beverages, and obviously I didn't want to go on the air. So we'll keep looking for people and finding people who, and as soon as those buses come, and we'll talk to some of those members too. Again, I've tried to see if the captain or someone will come out and talk to us, but that's not happening at this time. So I'm just looking around again to see if there's another crew member who could talk to us. All right, Devin, let me pitch it back to you in the studio, and as soon as we get someone, I'll get back with you.
Okay, thank you so much, Meg. Meg Ferris there, she is at the convention center with the Extravaganza. We're approaching 9:30 here, so I want to kind of give you a summary of what is all happening tonight. Just before 7 o'clock this evening, on the Endymion parade route, right at Canal and Galvez, a man was hit and killed by a float. We're not quite sure how, but we do believe that a tandem float was involved in this. We do know that it was float number 14, which is the the Captain Eddie SS Endymion. That is the same float that was involved in a 2008 accident that killed an Endymion crew member. So this all happened just before 7 o'clock. We saw some video just earlier tonight of people right around seeing all this happening and immediately start calling for police. Police responded right away and got to the scene. We are going to now check in with Chick Foray. He's our legal analyst to just see what he thinks about all this. Chick, can you hear me?
I can indeed, yes ma'am.
What are your initial impressions of all of this that's going on tonight, and of course this new rule that we're dealing with here, which is no more tandem floats for the rest of Carnival?
Well, obviously, it's a sad night. I'm in complete shock. I was at home. We went to the Irish parade today. I took my grandson to go watch his mother ride, and I was home for the evening. I was watching the news, and I saw this, and it's just a tragic event. You know, from a legal aspect, what are the rules and regulations? What are the ordinances? I did some real quick legal research. I found a 2014 ordinance, city ordinance, which talks about the back of the tandem floats need to be enclosed. It's somewhat ambiguous language. I don't know if that means so that one person on Twitter said so that people can't jump back and forth. Does it mean that the two sections of the floats, the tandem floats, need to be enclosed? I was involved in a case many years ago, a trucking case, where I think we were instrumental in allowing shields to be placed underneath trucks. I mean, I think that's what you're going to see. You're either going to see where tandem floats or disjoined, or you're going to see some sort of protection. Twitter tonight has been very active, and I saw a number of suggestions. There were some talked about cloth that could go across, yellow police tape. I mean, there's many different suggestions, but this is an issue that's got to be dealt with from a legal standpoint. It's got to be looked at. Scott Sternberg this evening tweeted out, he talked about, you've already issued ordinances, you've already issued permits for these floats. How can you now say that it's illegal? I guess, as he pointed out, it could be an emergency situation and you do that. There are a lot of legal questions that go with this. Number one concern, obviously, is safety. If you have this happen twice in the number of days involving the same types of floats in a similar factual situation, that's a problem. Is it that the crowds are too big? There was someone tonight who suggested that the parades are moving quicker. Why is that? Is that, number one, is that factually correct? Number two, why is that happening if it's factually correct? So all of these things have to be analytically looked at, and then the law enforcement and the decision makers in the city of New Orleans, the leaders, will have to make rules so that things like this are less likely to happen. You're never going to have a perfect situation where you have hundreds of thousands of people on the street. But if it happens twice in a number of days in a similar factual situation, we've got to do better. Some kind of way, we've got to do better. And these crews and these riders have a lot of money invested, and it's just a tragic situation. But I think that legally these issues can be dealt with. The safety measures can be put in place. I've lived here 66 years, all my life. I can tell you Mardi Gras is not going to stop. Carnival is not going to stop. Let's just hope we can maintain it in a similar fashion that we've enjoyed it for all these years. But there have to be some safety remedies that have to be applied.
Chick, we are just hearing, I'm going to stop you for just a second. We're just hearing from Mayor Cantrell. She just sent out a statement saying, I'm going to just read it in its entirety, quote, "To be confronted with such tragedy a second time at the height of our carnival celebrations seems an unimaginable burden to bear. The city and the people of New Orleans will come together, we will grieve together, and we will persevere together. Our hearts break for those lost and for their loved ones, and our prayers and deepest sympathies are with them and will be with them in all the days and months ahead. May our people take this moment to uplift our brothers and sisters, to mourn as one, and to move forward together." Chick, my last question for you, just as a New Orleanian, you mentioned you've lived here for more than 60 years here. If we had to pick one word for tonight, it seems to be somber. Is that kind of what you're feeling, and the feeling that you're getting from your friends and neighbors tonight?
The word I would use is tragic. It's a tragic event on so many levels. Number one, the gentleman who was killed tonight, the lady who was killed the other night, is a tragic situation. And in tragedy, sometimes good things come out. Let's just hope that we can make changes and move forward. But the word I would use tonight is it's a tragic situation.
Thank you so much, Chick, for calling in and talking with us tonight. I appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Also, we have just heard just 3 minutes ago from the crew of Bacchus. They have just sent out a statement saying, on behalf of the crew of Bacchus, we express our sincere condolences to the family of the young man who tragically lost his life this evening. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family. We have spoken with Curtin Studios and we will comply with the City of New Orleans' request to split our tandem floats. The crew of Bacchus will roll as usual on Bacchus Sunday at 5:15 from Napoleon and Tchoupitoulas. Now, this was something that just a little bit ago we were talking extensively about this new rule that the mayor has implemented for tandem floats and how Bacchus, we spoke with a Carnival historian, he said that Bacchus pretty much invented tandem floats many years ago, and they were going to be a very big concern because there are a lot of tandem floats in that parade. The mayor has said they are no longer permitted because they were involved in the Wednesday night fatal accident and also possibly involved in tonight's fatal accident. We know that Wednesday, a woman in her 50s tripped over that hitch and fell, and that was the result of that. So good news from Bacchus here saying that they will comply with the city's request to split the tandem floats and will roll as normal. We're going to go now to Meg Ferris. She is live at the convention center where the Endymion Extravaganza is happening inside. Meg, what can you tell us?
Well, Devin, I have 3 more crew members of Endymion. They were on 26A, and they also walked from the Superdome because the buses just weren't coming.
No, they had buses out there, but it just seemed with all the traffic it would be quicker for us just to walk over this way.
And y'all walked, I see down here, are as many throws as you could get, but you were telling me that all your throws that you've paid for are still up on the float.
They're still up on the float, yeah. They pulled us off and said no more throwing by the time the accident happened, and we were just diverted over to the Superdome.
How did y'all get the word? Some people got the word through a text from the captain. Some people heard it from a police officer telling them. How did y'all hear about it?
The police officers came up to our float lieutenant and let us know. Asked us to stop throwing and, that we were going to divert the parade. Parade was over with.
Now, you were telling me that the reason there are tandems, and they're triple tandems, A, B, and C, is because there was a limit on floats of how many floats you could have, and this would accommodate the many, many riders.
Yeah, that's my understanding. I mean, I've not read the regulations, but that's what I understand.
And I see a whole bunch more walking behind you. Looks like a lot of them walked, huh?
Well, apparently we just had the fastest steps in the group, and now the rest are catching up. But it was definitely a journey. Yeah, buddy.
When you heard about the fatality, the tragedy that happened, what was the mood like on 26, float 26?
It was immediately, everybody was sad. It's just one of those things. Everybody's having a good time, and you hear news like that, and it just immediately takes the air out of the bubble, so to speak. And we really feel for the family immediately. We're all have our family. You think something like that, it just makes you really feel bad quickly. So we're really sorry to hear that. And our prayers are out to the family, and we just hope something's going to change from this. So we'll just see what it is from here. Something you learn something from these things.
It looks like these are all walkers because I don't see a bus anywhere near. You think all these other members walk?
Must have. I mean, I can't say.
Yeah. And there are people behind us who are yelling. They're upset with the mayor on changing the rule with the tandems, but I know a lot of people have been drinking as well. Yeah. What else can you tell us about just tonight and what happened and how everything unfolded?
Well, it started off as a great parade. I mean, it was the wall-to-wall crowds. I mean, it was a spirit.
Beautiful weather.
Beautiful weather. The people were engaged. We're all having a great time. It's just a shame that something like this has to, happen and spoil the joie de vivre that we have here in New Orleans.
Yeah, and what do you have to say? 20 years riding. I thought you were too young, but
yeah, it's all the moisturizer. It just keeps me young. But no, 20 years we've been doing this, and nothing to this degree. It's we were talking on the walk that we've been through many things through all these Mardi Gras, but never anything like this. It's surreal.
Tragic.
It's surreal. Yeah.
Because it has been 38 years since someone was killed by a float, and that's as long as you've been alive. So, I have to say, and of course, as news is unfolding, this is all fluid, it's breaking news, but I got a call from someone whose friend was right where it happened, and who's saying that the people who were right there said it appeared that the person's foot, the adult male who's deceased, foot got caught under, and that's what happened. Again, I want to stress and underscore that is not official. This is just what someone who was right there around the time is saying happened, and we're trying to get those eyewitnesses. But no matter how it happened, it's still very, very sad.
Oh, it's just, yeah, it breaks your heart, really, because it puts a damper on the whole holiday that we have so much pride in here in New Orleans.
Now, what about the Extravaganza? We haven't been in, but normally, you know, I've been to these things before, and people are cheering, having fun, and excited, and rolling in their you know, ice chests and everything, and it just seems like everybody's kind of going through the motions. Do you agree?
Yeah, people are definitely going through the motions. I think everybody inside is still having the best time they can, but it definitely just puts a different slant on things. And
look behind you. There's some people who are paying who took one of those turtle taxis, yeah, to get over here. But go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, the blue bicycles were already gone by the time we were walking with them. So I think the first wave got all the bikes, and then we were the fastest walkers in the group. But no, I'm sure people are going to have a great time tonight. But it's a tragic thing that it kind of changes the entire mood of the evening. It does.
And I know this is a family event. Your family's inside waiting for you?
No, and they're not tonight, so we're going to miss the Extravaganza tonight.
But all your friends and all, and they're saying the same thing.
They're saying the same thing. Everybody's going in there with a little heavy heart tonight.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. Well, I've kept you long enough, and all the throws that you could bring in and hold. Thank you so much for talking to us. And thank you. Happy Mardi Gras to y'all. Yes, thank you, gentlemen, very, very much. So that's it from here, and here are more people. As you can see, a whole stream of people coming in. Did y'all take a bus or walk? Everybody walked. The buses just weren't moving fast enough, or the traffic wasn't moving fast enough. We're live.
Both a combination of disorganized people and, yeah, a little bit of everything.
And everything changing last minute.
Nobody knew what was going on at the time, so it was poorly handled.
About how many riders would you say went to the Dome on Float 15 to the end? About how many are we talking about?
There's probably 80 people on a float, so you got from 15 to 30. So
times 8. Okay, yes. Okay.
Quite a few.
Okay. Thank you so much. So yes, so all the people we see streaming into the Extravaganza still in their costumes, and as I said, they had to leave their throws back on the float at the Superdome. He's saying they're all walking, so we have not seen one bus come up, and that's what they're all confirming. So, so Devin, as soon as I don't see any more pulling up right now, but as soon as we do, we'll come back to you.
All right, Meg, thank you so much. I want to clarify, the last person who did pass away due to a float was back in 2008. It was not during a parade. This is video of that time. This happened at the Superdome. It was during the disbanding segment of the night at Endymion, as floats were disbanding from the Superdome. There was a 39-year-old man from Mississippi who was crushed, and this was also a tandem float incident. He was stuck in between the second and the third segments of the float, and it was actually the same float that was involved tonight. It's the Captain Eddie SS Endymion, the same exact float under which someone passed away this evening. So again, I want to recap for all of you what exactly has gone on. One person has died after an accident on the Endymion parade route. It happened just before 7 o'clock at Canal and Galvez on the parade route there. It was float number 14 of about 30. This is the parade here, this is the float here that was involved in that incident. What we're hearing is that it was a man. We don't know his age or his identity, but he was somehow stuck underneath a segment of that float and did not survive. There were witnesses to this incident. Of course, the parades are very, very busy, lots of people standing around, and they immediately called for police and were yelling for police to move in when they saw all of this happen. Police were there right away and tried to save this man with CPR, but unfortunately were not able to. As a result, the mayor and the police superintendent took immediate action, implementing a rule that is eliminating tandem floats for the rest of Carnival. Again, here is Here's the float here that you're seeing police start this investigation as they're kind of measuring things and trying to get people out of the area here. If this is sounding very familiar to you, unfortunately, this is the second time this carnival season that we've dealt with this. Just 2 days ago, this woman in her 50s, Geraldine Carmouche, passed away during the Knicks parade. She was also involved in a tandem float accident. She tripped over one of the hitches that is in between, and she did not survive. That was right on Magazine Street on Wednesday night. Here we are Saturday night, kind of having a very, very similar incident happening. We spoke earlier with a carnival historian, Errol Laborde, who told us that this could be because there are a lot more. We have not seen this in many, many years. He says that this could be just because we see a lot more of these tandem floats happening, because as you just heard one of these crew members say, they limit the number of floats that you can have in a parade, but there are lots and lots of riders. So this is a great way to maximize the number of people who can be in a parade. And as Mr. Laborde also mentioned, it's a way to kind of tie in the theme a little bit better, and it's an artist kind of trick to have these tandem floats. They are very, very important to a lot of the parades that we are going to be seeing in the next few days. There are 5 parades here in New Orleans tomorrow. One of them is Toth, which our news director is in. He tells us there are 15 tandem floats in Toth, and the captain is scrambling to figure out what exactly they can do. Also, Bacchus tomorrow night. Our historian earlier, Mr. Laborde, told us that Bacchus kind of invented tandem floats, and they have many of them. So we did hear from the Bacchus crew of Bacchus just a little bit ago. This is the statement that they sent to WWL. I'm going to read it for you. On behalf of the crew of Bacchus, we express our sincere condolences to the family of the young man who tragically lost his life this evening. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family. Now, they said that they have spoken with Kern Studios. They are going to comply with the City of New Orleans' request to split the tandem floats. And the crew of Bacchus will roll as scheduled Sunday at 5:15 from Napoleon and Tchoupitoulas. That's good news for a lot of people who were hoping to see that parade, of course, knowing that we're I'm hearing that the very first tandem float was the Baca Gator. I believe, Dominic, did 1986, very first tandem float there. And he says 105 feet, 3 pieces long was the very first tandem float that we saw. So, of course, we were expecting to see many of them tomorrow in some of these parades, and that will not be happening. Bacchus is the first to tell us that they are honoring the city's request to split those floats. We have not quite heard how they're going to do that, but we have definitely heard that some crew members have been kind of scrambling to make all of this happen. The city made this rule known as they announced this police investigation that's beginning into the incident tonight. That all happened at a press conference earlier tonight. We're going to let you listen in.
Good evening, but absolutely not a good evening. We have another fatality during a parade involving a float. The lead on this, which continues to be an investigation, is our Superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department, Sean Ferguson. As you can see, that we're joined here by our public safety team, in addition to members of the New Orleans City Council. We have canceled the remainder of the Endymion parade for this evening. Moving forward throughout the Mardi Gras season 2020, we're also eliminating the use of tandem floats moving forward. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Ferguson.
As the mayor said, this is a very sad and unfortunate situation that we're dealing with right now. At approximately 6:55 p.m., an adult male was struck by a float near the intersection of Canal and Galvis, and being struck, that resulted into his death. Anything before float number 14, we're allowed to continue along the parade route, but anything after float number 14, we are disbanding right here at Galvis and Canal Street. I have made a decision that we will not allow any more tandem floats to continue throughout Carnival season 2020 until we do a further assessment for the safety measures that we could possibly take, do better approaches throughout the season, seasons going forward, not this season, but seasons going forward. Our fatality unit is the lead on this investigation. We do not know what led to his death, and that's a part of the investigation, and we can answer more questions as we give him more information. So again, this is an unfortunate fatality that we're dealing with once again in Carnival 2020.
Absolutely. We have allowed, we have our family members in the UMC where we are making sure that they have the correct care necessary to deal with the aftermath of the fatality at this particular time.
What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry?
When you say floats going in tandem, what do you mean?
The tandem, those floats that you are seeing that are connected, you may see one tractor that may be pulling 3 or 4 different floats at one time. We're no longer allowing that now. We will only allow one tractor and one float to be pulled by that one tractor.
I know you said that you don't know the circumstances of everything, but is this obviously the reason why you're discontinuing the tandem floats? Do you anticipate that was part of the reason why?
We really do not know at this time, but again, this is a tandem float that is involved in, again, a second fatality of this season, so I do have my concerns. And I think we have to do our due diligence in making sure that this is a safe carnival for everyone. And in doing so, I think we have to do our job in evaluating the safety measures that could be put into place moving forward.
Do you have any status on what's going to be happening with the remaining floats with Endymion, if they're going to be participating in any other cruise?
Right now, that has not been discussed, and just as I mentioned the other day with regards to Knicks, we're in a very tight window right now with regards to cancellations and rescheduling of parades. Tomorrow we have 5 parades that are scheduled to roll on tomorrow. So we have a very narrow window when it comes to rescheduling anyone.
And not only that, just keeping in mind the decision that was recently made to not move forward with the use of tandem floats, which contributes to the Endymion floats here. So any thought of using them into or adding them into future parades, it's pretty much prevented based on the decisions that we've made thus far.
Is there going to be a change to the presence of NOPD for tomorrow's floats?
Presence, what do you mean?
In the way that they're laid out near the floats?
Well, the response of NOPD was never the issue. The greatest response was something that was rendered. One experienced and expressed even by the float riders based on the way that we were able to respond in record time. So that was never the issue.
And so from this point on to the end of the route, that's canceled. But as far as what is going on back there in the beginning of the parade route, that's still going.
So what you see behind you right now is the parade being disbanded right now. The floats are going in one direction. They're being relocated to a location where they will be picked up by their buses. The non-float elements are being redirected in another direction where they could be bused to their schools or whatever it is that they may be coming from. But anything before number float 14 is now continuing along the parade route as we speak.
Definitely, and so it was float number 14.
Float number 14, yes ma'am.
So thank you so much, and we'll provide you with more information as we learn more based on the investigations that is ongoing. Thank you.
Thank you. Talking there. It's important to point out how rare these really are. We spoke earlier, how rare these accidents are. The last issue like this was an Endymion event at the Superdome back in 2008. There was a 39-year-old man who was crushed while those floats were moving out. And then the last one before that was in 1981. It was a 3-year-old girl who was killed by a float. Now earlier, after Wednesday's incident at the Knicks parade, we spoke with a man who's been driving a tractor for 19 years. He told us that his worst fear was someone dying after a float, under a float that he was pulling. He says that there's really not a lot of view that these tractor drivers have, even though they really try to look out for people, but especially when they have those tandem floats behind them, it is not only a lot of length, a lot of people to look out for, but it is a lot of weight, and those tractors cannot stop on a dime if something is happening behind them. One of the issues that our crews are seeing brought up on Twitter today is how are these floats, how are these crews going to find enough tractors to pull these floats if they are not going to be tandem tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday? Will they have to pare down the number of floats and the number of riders that are in their parades? We're not quite sure. We do know at this time that Bacchus has a plan, or is working on a plan, to split up their tandem floats according to this new rule that has been rolled out by the city. And they will roll as usual on Bacchus Sunday at 5:15. So no changes for Bacchus right now, but there are still 4 other parades that are happening tomorrow. One of them is Toth. Our news director is in that crew. He tells us that there are 15 tandem floats in Toth that will have to be broken apart. And of course, this is not only a scramble for organizational and logistical reasons, but also how do you find a tractor to pull every single one of those floats if you had not planned on it until now, 10 p.m. the night before. So we still have Okeanos, Mid-City, Toth, Chaos, and Bacchus. All of those are tomorrow. So this is video of the Endymion parade. Before this whole incident, you can see how beautiful all of these floats are. This is down Orleans Avenue. People just having a great time. Gorgeous, gorgeous, unique floats making their way through the city. People are so excited to be here. Of course, such a joyous and celebratory occasion in this city. Such a fun night, and such a somber and tragic note to end all of this on. Here we are nearing the top of the hour, so I'm going to give you a quick recap of what we are talking about this evening. At 6:50, just before 7 o'clock tonight, there was a man who was hit and killed. He was run over by a float in the Endymion parade. We're not quite sure who he is, how old he is. We know it was an adult man, and it was float 14. So float 14 was the Captain Eddie SS Endymion. It was the same float, you're seeing it right here, the same float that was involved in a 2008 death of an Endymion crew member at the Superdome while they were all moving out of the Superdome. This all happened again around 7 o'clock tonight. It was at Galvez and Canal. Police responded very quickly, and they started investigating very quickly, throwing a tarp over a section of the tandem hitch of that float. This is a 3-piece float that you are seeing here, and they threw a tarp over while they began their investigation. Police, EMS, fire crews, the mayor, also a public safety team, city council members were all in that area as this investigation started. The second fatality for this carnival season. It is the first fatality during a parade since 1980, or excuse me, the second fatality during a parade since 1981. The first being just this past Wednesday night during the Krewe of Nick's parade, where we saw a woman in her 50s who tripped over that hitch in between that tandem float and fell and unfortunately did not survive. This has been a really somber night for the members of Endymion, the crew members. They have made their way to the Extravaganza at the convention center. Those who did not roll because they were behind this incident were rerouted to the Superdome and were told to wait for buses, but we're finding out that many of them just chose to walk from the Superdome to the convention center. They didn't want to wait for the buses. Floats 1 through 13 that were able to roll before this incident, they were able to just roll right into the convention center for that extravaganza. We're told that inside, the crew members were giving their condolences to this man's family and also saying that they support the city's decision to eliminate tandem. They support the decision by the city to eliminate tandem floats for the rest of the parade. So Mayor Cantrell did issue a statement on the fatality right after this press conference, saying she's calling this an unimaginable burden to bear, saying the city and the people of New Orleans will come together, we will grieve together, and we will persevere together. Our hearts break for those lost and for their loved ones, and our prayers and deepest sympathies are with them and will be with them in all the days and months ahead. May our people take this moment to uplift our brothers and sisters, to mourn as one, and to move forward together. That was a statement from Mayor LaToya Cantrell following this horrible accident. We are going to begin our 10 o'clock news in just a moment here, where we're going to give you some more details, hopefully, into what all is happening here. We're going to have some live reports from the scene and also from the Extravaganza, the outside of the Extravaganza at the Convention Center. Meg Ferris has been there all evening talking to crew members as they came into the Convention Center. So many of them have said that they are sad, they are disappointed, they're frustrated, and we are going to begin our 10 now.
From Channel 4's Eyewitness News, this is breaking news.
Bartolotta. Tonight, another person has died after being struck by a float. It happened just before 7 during the Endymion parade near Galvez and Canal. The city has announced that there will be no more tandem floats allowed this parade season while the safety is assessed. We have multiple crews following this story this evening. We begin with Duke Carter, who is near where the accident happened. Duke.
Good evening, Devin. Yeah, we are here at the intersection of Canal and Galvis, where right now it was, or I should say before, it was a pretty hectic scene, but right now we just have pretty much crews on standby just cleaning up the mess from Endymion Parade. Now we want to show you all some video of what we saw when we arrived a couple of hours ago. When we arrived, we saw again a lot of people just in shock and awe about what happened. And according to Chief Sean Ferguson, this incident happened a little bit before 7 o'clock this evening, where according to Chief Ferguson, there's no explanation to what exactly led to the man being hit and killed by float number 14 during the Endymion Parade. However, we did speak with a couple of people who were en route. Again, a lot of people were just in shock that this happened. A lot of people were just surprised that now you not have one fatal accident, but now 2. And we spoke to one witness who just says she just can't believe this happened. Take a listen.
He was reaching for throws and somebody pushed him to get the throws, and the devastation happened right in front of his family. And it's a sad tragedy that we can't come out and enjoy the parades anymore.
Was it the first part of the float or the second part of the float?
I think he got caught like in the mid part, yes.
Okay. And so you said it was in front of his own family?
Yes, it happened in front of his family, which was like so sad, you know, because we just had this to happen a few nights ago, and it done happened again.
What went through your head when you were like, when you I guess saw this emotion? And
complete shock, like, you know, how? Why is it that we can't come out as a group of people just to enjoy the festivities without having commotions to take place? You know, we should all be able to come out, enjoy, and leave and go home.
But the man wasn't drinking, or was he?
No, he wasn't drinking. He was enjoying with his family, and he got pushed underneath the float.
Completely underneath?
Completely underneath. His family watched his body. When he got pushed underneath there, it's like he went in shock. And he stopped, and he moved again, and then he was gone. It's
You're still processing?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, this just happened. It's, you know, I just can't believe it.
As you just heard from that witness there, she says she just could not believe that a man was fatally hit and killed by a float during the Endymion Parade when many people were out just enjoying the festivities. Now you're taking a live look of where float number 14, which is the one involved in this incident, where it was. Now you have cleanup crews just pretty much cleaning up the mess after the Endymion Parade wrapped up. A lot of people we were trying to speak to are a little bit inebriated at this time, didn't understand the severity, the gravity of this situation. So a lot of folks were still processing that. But the ones who were in the right state of mind were just shocked by what they saw, could not believe what they saw. And of course, as you just heard from Chief Sean Ferguson as well as Mayor Cantrell, they will not have any more tandem floats for the remaining of Carnival 2020 until they can assess the situation to make sure that it is safe for people who are attending those parades. We're going to send it back to you in studio, Devin.
All right, Duke, thank you so much. Meg Ferris has also been out at the convention center all night. That's where the Endymion Extravaganza is happening. She's been able to speak with some crew members out there. Meg. All right, we seem to be having some technical difficulties with Meg's microphone there. We're not able to hear her. So we're going to go to a statement that Mayor LaToya Cantrell issued right after this all happened. She said, quote, "To be confronted with such a tragedy a second time at the height of our carnival celebrations seems an unimaginable burden to bear. The city and the people of New Orleans will come together, we will grieve together, and we will persevere together. Our hearts break for those lost and for their loved ones, and our prayers and deepest sympathies are with them and will be with them in all the days and months ahead. May our people take this moment to uplift our brothers and sisters, to mourn as one, and to move forward together." This is, of course, the second person to be killed this week by a parade float. On Wednesday, 58-year-old Geraldine Carmouche was struck by a float during the Knicks parade. Reports say that she tripped over the hitch of a tandem float before it rolled over her. And this year's multiple accidents like this are extremely rare, but they have happened in the past. Back in 2008, an Endymion float rider died when he was hit by a float while the crew members were getting off the float at the Superdome. And this all actually happened on the same float. We're going to go live now to Meg. She is outside the Extravaganza at the convention center. Meg.
And Devin, I'm sorry we were having some audio technical difficulties. What I was saying was some of those buses have now arrived from the Superdome. It's been more than an hour that it took for them to get here, and we have seen crew members get off. But standing with me now are two crew members who ride every year, and they're from Houma, and y'all were on 36?
We're on 35A, and we were stopped. The cops said stop throwing, and we're trying to figure out why we couldn't throw anymore. And my wife had texted me and said somebody got run over by a float. So I'll just stop throwing, and as we just kept cruising along, we got closer to downtown. We were able to kind of throw a few things, but
you went to the Superdome and walked here because the buses were taking so long.
Yes, the floats took us to the Superdome, and everybody, all we could do is just wave at the crowd, and everybody kept thanking us and telling they loved us, and next year they'll be back.
And what was the mood like when you heard, when the word got around your float on 35 that someone had been fatally hit by a float?
It put an absolute damper on the whole experience. This is my first ride. I've never experienced this before, so I was really excited. When we came to a complete stop, I just thought this was, part of the process, and then we realized we got word that someone was actually fatally killed, so it really put a damper on the whole night, and we're really sorry that this happened, and we really reach out and our prayers to the family and the victim that's involved.
Very kind. And so many other riders are saying they're thinking of the family and how somber it was on the float after word spread around. But y'all didn't take the bus because it was just taking too long.
Right. We were waiting for the bus, but I was told that it was going to take almost an hour for the buses to arrive at the dome. So we just started walking. And
you left all your throws on the float for now?
We left all our throws on the float. We had most of our throws left. We were like second to last float, so we still almost had all our throws left.
Now, I know you haven't been in the Extravaganza yet, but we're hearing that they got up on stage and made a big announcement. Are there any other announcements or text messages they've sent to you about this?
We are unaware of anything. We really don't know all the facts. We got bits and pieces as we were riding. But we really don't know the full extent and all the details of what transpired.
And your family's all here from Houma to celebrate. Is it put changed, or are they here? Are they celebrating with y'all?
No, my wife's back at home, but I don't know if your family's
Yeah,
there.
my wife and quite a few of our friends are here. This is actually our first Endymion experience, so we were really excited, and we're really sorry that this all transpired. Try to make the best of a sad situation.
Whole different mood. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us live. And so I did just see one official from Endymion who said he cannot come on camera and talk to us now about anything more, but I was told by one of the people here at the party that they did get up and make an announcement. Now, I'm also told that the 13 floats, that was 1 through 13, which was before, of course, where the tragedy happened with 14, are inside the New Orleans Convention Center, inside for the Extravaganza. And of course it's here this year because the Superdome is being remodeled. Normally it would be at the Superdome. So that's it from here. Reporting live from the New Orleans Convention Center, Meg Farris, Eyewitness News. Devin, back to you.
Meg, thank you so much. And the crew of Bacchus also released a statement just a short time ago saying, on behalf of the crew of Bacchus, we express our sincere condolences to the family of the young man who tragically lost his life this evening. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family. They add, we have spoken with Kern Studios and we will comply with the City of New Orleans' request to split our tandem floats. The crew of Bacchus will roll as usual on Bacchus Sunday at 5:15 from Napoleon and Tchoupitoulas. Now that rule to split the tandem floats, that's something brand new that the mayor and the police commissioner said just this evening during a press conference, and here's what they had to say.
Good evening, but absolutely not a good evening. We have another fatality during a parade involving a float. The lead on this, which continues to be an investigation, is our Superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department, Sean Ferguson. As you can see that we're joined here by our public safety team, in addition to members of the New Orleans City Council. We have canceled the remainder of the Endymion parade for this evening. Moving forward throughout the Mardi Gras season 2020, we're also eliminating the use of tandem floats moving forward. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Ferguson.
As the mayor said, this is a very sad and unfortunate situation that we're dealing with right now. At approximately 6:55 p.m., an adult male was struck by a float near the intersection of Canal and Galvis, and being struck, that resulted into his death. Anything before float number 14, we're allowed to continue along the parade route, but anything after float number 14, we are disbanding right here at Galvis and Canal Street. I have made a decision that we will not allow any more tandem floats to continue throughout Carnival season 2020 until we do a further assessment for the safety measures that we could possibly take, do better approaches throughout the season, seasons going forward, not this season, but seasons going forward. Our fatality unit is the lead on this investigation. We do not know what led to his death, and that's a part of the investigation, and we can answer more questions as we give him more information. So again, this is an unfortunate fatality that we're dealing with once again in Carnival 2020.
Absolutely. We have allowed, we have our family members in the UMC where we are making sure that they have the correct care necessary to deal with the aftermath of the fatality at this particular time.
What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry?
When you say floats going in tandem, what do you mean?
The tandem, those floats that you are seeing that are connected, you may see one tractor that may be pulling 3 or 4 different floats at one time. We're no longer allowing that now. We will only allow one tractor and one float to be pulled by that one tractor.
You said that you don't know the circumstances of everything, but is this obviously the reason why you're just discontinuing the tandem floats? Do you anticipate that that was part of the reason why?
We really do not know at this time, but again, this is a tandem float that is involved in, again, a second fatality of this season, so I do have my concern. And I think we have to do our due diligence in making sure that this is a safe carnival for everyone. And in doing so, I think we have to do our job in evaluating the safety measures that could be put into place moving forward.
Do you have any status on what's going to be happening with the remaining floats with Endymion, if they're going to be participating in any other cruise?
Right now, that has not been discussed, and just as I mentioned the other day with regards to next, we're in a very tight window right now with regards to cancellations and rescheduling of parades. Tomorrow we have 5 parades that are they're scheduled to roll on tomorrow. So we have a very narrow window when it comes to rescheduling anyone.
And not only that, just keeping in mind the decision that was recently made to not move forward with the use of tandem floats, which contributes to the Endymion floats here. So any thought of using them into or adding them into future parades, it's pretty much prevented based on the decisions that we've made thus far.
Is there going to be a change to the presence of NOP for tomorrow's floats?
Presence, what do you mean?
In the way that they're laid out near the floats?
Well, the response of NOPD was never the issue. The greatest response was something that was rendered. One experienced and expressed even by the float riders based on the way that we were able to respond in record time. So that was never the issue.
And so from this point on to the end of the route, that's cancer. But as far as what is going on back there in the beginning of the parade route, that's still going.
So what you see behind you right now is the parade being disbanded right now. The floats are going in one direction. They're being relocated to a location where they will be picked up by their buses. The non-float elements are being redirected in another direction where they could be bused to their schools or whatever it is that they may be coming from. But anything before number float 14 is now continuing along the parade route as we speak.
And so it was float number 14?
Float number 14, yes ma'am.
So thank you so much, and we'll provide you with more information as we learn more based on the investigations that is ongoing.
As the mayor
Thank
and
you.
the police commissioner there giving a briefing just shortly after that incident. We're going to go live now. We've got Jamiles Larte on the phone. He was a witness on the scene of this tragic accident. Jamiles, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Jamiles, thank you so much for being here. Can you tell me a little bit about where you were when all this happened?
Yeah, sure. So I was right there on Galvez and Canal on the side where the accident occurred, so probably about no more than 10 feet away from where it actually happened.
Wow, and you actually have some video. Can you just, our viewers are seeing it right now. Can you describe what's in this video?
Yeah, so I mean, the video saw more clearly than I did. My attention was focused on the second decker of the floats as they were going by, just to make sure I didn't get hit in the head with anything. But certainly I became aware all of a sudden that what initially looked like people kind of having fun and a good time and making noise, all of a sudden turned into screams and panic and crying out for help and attention. And it became clear that someone had been caught underneath the wheels of one of these tandem floats.
Obviously, this is something that you never anticipate will happen at a parade, let alone right in front of you. I mean, did you even believe that this is what had happened? Did it register with you right away that this was unfolding?
No, and like I said, I think so often in these kind of situations where a party or a celebration turns into a tragic moment, it's kind of jarring, and you don't exactly know when your brain switches over to realize that this is no longer fun and something horrible has happened. So it certainly took some time for that to sink in. But yeah, as soon as the first responders started clearing people away, you heard people screaming and crying and shouting. I did see who I believe to be family of the man who was killed. begin crying and getting very emotional, and it kind of all hit home in that moment.
Without being graphic or insensitive to this man's family, can you tell me a little bit about were you able to see anything here, and what was the reaction of the people around you after they really started processing what was happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reaction was just a lot of kind of across the board of fear, frustration, anger. I think in those moments, people just, the emotions are running high, and so you hear a lot of things from, just anger that the parade is canceled, or that people were getting so close to the floats, but just a lot of people feeling like, it could have been them. A lot of, I think fear is the best way to describe it.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jamiles, do you live in New Orleans? Are you from here?
I do. I've been living here about 3 years now.
Okay, so I mean, this is, as someone who lives here, I'm sure very jarring to see all this happen, not just once, but 2 times during a carnival season.
Sure. It's very jarring, and that was one of the things I immediately started, asking folks around me, how they were feeling and how they were processing it, and the primary thing that I heard from people was, I've been coming to Mardi Gras my entire life for 30, 40 years. I've never seen this before, and there was just so much disbelief that there had been two tragic incidents like this in the span of a week.
Yeah. Well, Jamiles, thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in with us. We're thinking about you and a lot of the other people who had to witness this tonight. So thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Mayor Cantrell issued a statement just shortly after all of this, and I want to read it with you here. She said, quote, "To be confronted with such a tragedy a second time at the height of our carnival celebrations seems an unimaginable burden to bear. The city and the people of New Orleans will come together, we will grieve together, and we will persevere together. Our hearts break for those lost and for their loved ones, and our prayers and deepest sympathies are with them and will be with them in all the days and months ahead. May our people take this moment to uplift our brothers and sisters, to mourn as one, and to move forward together." Stick around, we'll be right back after this.
If you call shotgun to reserve a seat in the front of the car, what do you shout if you want to sit in the back? The 2019 Volkswagen Atlas, with best-in-class third-row legroom. This President's Day, lease a spacious and refined 2019 Volkswagen Atlas S for just $319 a month at your local Volkswagen dealer.
I wanted my hepatitis C gone.
I put off treating mine.
Epclusa treats all main types of chronic hep C. Whatever your type, Epclusa could be your kind of cure.
I just found out about mine.
I knew for years. Epclusa has a 98% overall cure rate.
I had no symptoms of hepatitis C.
Mine caused liver damage.
Epclusa is only one pill, once a day, taken with or without food for 12 weeks. Before starting Epclusa, your doctor will test if you have had hepatitis B, which may flare up and could cause serious liver problems during and after treatment. Tell your doctor if you have had hepatitis B, other liver or kidney problems, HIV or other medical conditions, and all medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Taking amiodarone with Epclusa may cause a serious slowing of your heart rate. Common side effects include headache and tiredness. Ask your doctor today if Epclusa is your kind of cure.
Injured? Demand difference. Demand Dudley DeBosier.
If you received a quick offer from the insurance company, don't be relieved, be suspicious.
You can bet it isn't enough. Probably not even close.
At Dudley DeBosier, we've gotten clients 10, 20, even 50 times more than the insurance company's original offer.
That's serious money that you can't afford to do without.
And that's the Dudley DeBosier difference.
Demand Dudley DeBosier. Call 444-4444.
Welcome back. We're dealing with some breaking news here. One person is dead after an accident at the Endymion parade. We're going to call in now with Errol Laborde. He was on the Mardi Gras advisory committee, and he's also a carnival historian. Errol, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Errol, I know we spoke with you a little bit earlier. Thank you for coming back to speak with us again. We've been kind of talking about these tandem floats all night long, and you gave us a brief history earlier, but can you tell us again, Bacchus pretty much invented these, right? How important are these tandem floats to Carnival?
Yeah, well, it was a Bacchus invention in that one of the founders of Bacchus tells the story that he was in an airplane one day, and he was and the plane was taxiing, and while it was taxiing, he noticed the luggage carts for the other planes and how there were, several units being pulled by one unit, and they were designed so that they all turned at the exact same spot. And so he thought, well, man, this is interesting technology here. And that was what developed until he looked into it, and they developed floats, what became the tandem floats. I think the advantage of it, visually and artistically, is that they allow for things that you couldn't do with a regular float. Like if you look at things like the Bacchus Gator and the floats that Orpheus has, where you have these serpents and these sort of things that, that take several floats to tell the story. Endymion does that big Pontchartrain Beach float, and then and Endymion has a bunch of things, including the SS Endymion, which is the one where the accident was tonight. They're probably a little bit more economical also, in that you can have several units being pulled by one tractor. I don't know to what extent that's a factor, but I can see a cost factor, but I can also see an artistic advantage. So there's good things and there's bad things, but one thing that's clear is that there's a lot of them. There's a lot more than they used to be. Originally, you saw these things primarily in the Super Cruise. We saw this during the week with Nick's, which was a parade that wasn't around a few years ago. And as you increase, you're going to see, I think, more and more of them. So it probably is time to have some sort of debate about tandem floats, how many you have and how many units they can have.
Errol, we're a little tight on time, about 60 seconds here. When we have something like this, 2 fatalities in 1 week, is this the catalyst to changing maybe some safety protocol as we go forward to Mardi Gras and Carnival next year?
Well, it certainly should be a catalyst for debate. And when people are asking, why is this happening all of a sudden, my answer is that because we have more tandem floats than we've ever had, that we have more crews, and the float builders build tandem floats, and so there's more of those kind of floats on the street. And as that has grown, I don't think there's been the corresponding debate in terms of the regulation of them.
All right, Errol Laborde, thank you so much for being here. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Your local weather expert forecast is sponsored by Campbell Cabinets, your kitchen and bath expert since 1972.
Sportage, Sorento, and Telluride, part of Kia's tough and ready lineup of all-wheel drive SUVs. Right now, get $3,500 customer cash on the purchase of a new 2020 Sorento V6.
5 years ago, I had psoriasis everywhere. My skin hurt, I felt gross. But then I started Cosentyx, and I haven't really had to think about it.
Real people with psoriasis look and feel better with Cosentyx. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor about an infection or symptoms. If your inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen, or if you've had a vaccine or plan to, serious allergic reactions may occur. Ask your dermatologist about Cosentyx.
Introducing the most capable Sierra lineup ever. Get 0% financing for 72 months on 2020 Sierra 1500 models. Plus get $500 purchase allowance when you finance through GM Financial. Or get $6,000 purchase allowance on the Sierra SLT.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. With so much homegrown goodness, we can be choosy. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, Gulf Coast Bank offers a variety of homegrown services, all crafted around you and the way you manage your money. On demand when you want it, in person when you need it. That's craft banking. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Pills. You crush them. Kind of. Kale. You eat it for breakfast. Sometimes. You go far to eliminate stubborn fat. But sometimes life gets in the way. Cool Sculpting takes you further. A non-surgical treatment that targets, freezes, and eliminates treated fat cells. For good. Discuss Cool Sculpting with your doctor. Some common side effects include temporary numbness, discomfort, and swelling. Don't imagine results. see them. Cool sculpting. Take yourself further.
Sorento SX, Telluride, and Sportage. Part of Kia's tough and ready lineup of SUVs. Right now, get 0% APR for 66 months on the purchase of a new 2020 Sportage.
Good evening. Getting into your weather really quickly as you make your plans for tomorrow and then into Monday and Tuesday. Weather-wise, tomorrow is starting off pretty chilly. We'll be in the 40s for the most part south of the lake and north of the lake. Currently, it's 52 in New Orleans. Been a pretty chilly day. We did have the sun earlier. Tonight, though, chilling down north of the lake and south of the lake. 40s at this point for those of you on the North Shore. And I think your lows tonight will be in the upper 30s to about 40. We have these calm winds. Tonight will not be as chilly as what we saw early this morning, but it will be somewhat cool to start the day tomorrow for sure. Satellite and radar imagery mostly quiet right now. High pressure is building to our northeast and continuing to shift to the east. So as we move through our precision cast, kind of diving right in so you can again make your plans. This is tomorrow morning, starting off mostly clear and cool. It does turn a little warmer in the 60s tomorrow, and note by 6 p.m. a bit of an increase in cloud cover, but tomorrow still looks dry. So weather still looking fine for tomorrow's parades. As for Monday, this is the first part of the day, maybe a couple of showers, but what we're watching for Monday evening, that's really the time that we've been saying we may have some showers in the area, and here we are, 8 o'clock on Monday evening. Does look like we'll have at least some rain to deal with. So if you do have your Monday night plans for parades, I would bring umbrellas and rain ponchos and just be ready for some rain. Even if it is light at times, I think we will have some. This is 11 p.m. We may see the showers wrapping up at that point. This is Mardi Gras morning, 7 a.m., getting out and about, and it does look like we might have a shower or two. This model, though, as you can see, completely kind of clears us out and does keep clouds in the area, but doesn't have a lot of rain on Mardi Gras Day. And then after that, after Tuesday, we will get another hit of cooler air to really chill us down and make it windy on Ash Wednesday. But as for Tuesday parades, again, aside from a shower or two wrapping up in the morning, we will be drying out, especially by about midday and afternoon, with temperatures in the 60s, and then again, much colder the next day on Wednesday. As for Monday, we'll be in the 60s, so pretty pleasant to kind of coolish for the evening. And again, that chance for rain is there. And as for tomorrow, it looks great. Tonight will be chilly, 40 or so north of the lake, lows south of the lake in the middle to upper 40s. Here's what we could wake up to, maybe even some upper 30s for some of you north of the lake early tomorrow. And then we're in the 60s tomorrow. Nice dry day, great parade weather we have had, and it'll be a little warmer. Here's your Sunday parade planner. Again, warming up in the afternoon, and then we'll be in the 60s as we head into the remainder of the evening. As for rain amounts, looks like about a ½ inch or so. No severe storms expected with anything on Monday into Tuesday, but again, be prepared for a bit of that shower activity for that time. And then we'll dry out and turn much colder by Wednesday, and we have a couple of cold mornings coming up Thursday and Friday. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Honda was named the 2019 Best Overall Brand and Best Value Brand by Kelley Blue Book. So when you buy a Honda, you're getting an amazing vehicle for an amazing value. Come into your local dealership today and get a great deal on an amazing Honda.
The census wants our community to be counted accurately. That count informs decisions that affect funding for hundreds of programs, like Medicare and arts education.
Shape your future. Start here. Learn more at 2020census.gov.
Introducing the most capable Sierra lineup ever. Get 0% financing for 72 months on 2020 Sierra 1500 models. Plus get $500 purchase allowance when you finance through GM Financial. Or get $6,000 purchase allowance on the Sierra SLT.
Get to Kohl's, now's the time sale, and take an extra 20% off. Pick up fleece for the family, $11.99 and under. Shoes for the family, $35.99 and under. And these Hamilton Beach Kitchen Electrics are just $15.99 each. Plus, get Kohl's Cash at Kohl's and Kohl's.com.
Sounds like another amazing weekend. Brought to you by the Toyota Tundra and Tacoma.
Get $1,000 customer cash, or qualified lessees can lease a new, virtually indestructible 2020 Tacoma SR5 for only $199 a month. Toyota, let's go places.
All right, people, school newspapers don't write themselves. What do we got? Check it out. Jordan uploaded his dance video. And it's fire. Dig into that. Next, your books are almost out. Best hair will shock you. That's juicy. I know, right? You're darn right it is. Oh, you can't make this stuff up.
What will you do with our fastest internet speeds? Cox Gigablast, now 100% available in New Orleans.
The chance, an open look for three! Finds his man. Time running out, drives the lane. Oh,
Time's running out. Get to Nissan now for big President's Day savings on our entire lineup, like the award-winning Nissan Rogue and Altima. It's car buying season. Hurry to Nissan, official partner of the NCAA. Save $2,500 or get 0% financing for 60 months on the 2020 Rogue. Get to Nissan now.
Just minutes ago, we got a statement from the crew of Orpheus captain. This is a super crew that that's going to roll at 6 p.m. uptown on Monday night. Here's their statement in full. The crew of Orpheus extends its heartfelt sympathy to the families of those whose lives were lost in the recent parade incidents. Orpheus will comply with the recommendations of Mayor LaToya Cantrell and Chief of Police Sean Ferguson. Safety remains our priority, and moving forward, we offer our help to ensure the safety of parade goers as well as crews. And we are going to go live now to Meg Ferris. She is outside the convention center where she's been talking to some crew members this evening. Meg.
Devin, just a few quick things. Some of the bus drivers said that they were already on the route getting people from hotels and bringing them here to the convention center, the people who were coming to here at the Extravaganza. And they said what happened was they got the call that to go to the Superdome to get the crew members to bring them here, and they had to go all the way to the West Bank in order to get them here because of, you know, things that were blocked off because of the parade and that type of thing, and then come back to the Dome and bring them here. Of course, somber mood here. A lot of people, of course, first and foremost on their minds are the two people we've lost this week who were just out at a parade having fun. But they said going forward that $230 a ticket here and $3,000, not including all the hotel bills and everything. They were saying the city, they're hoping, the Endymion people are hoping there'll be a contingency plan going forward for when something terrible like this happens to reroute the parade around it going forward with all the money and effort that is spent. But of course, first and foremost on their minds are these families that have lost people. Reporting live from the New Orleans Convention Center, Meg Ferris, Eyewitness News. Devin, back to you.
Meg, thank you so much. As we wrap all this up, there is, of course, a lot that we are still working to learn about this breaking situation. You can stay with us for updates on our app, on WWLTV.com, and also on our social media pages. Also tune in to the Eyewitness News starting at 6 a.m. That's all for now. Have a great night.
And welcome to Le Coup d'Etat 2020. The revolution is about to begin. One of the most satirical and sometimes scary parades in all of Carnival is coming up on a night chock full of parades, turning out to be a beautiful night. I'm Karen Boudry along with Errol Laborde and Don Ostrom. We're here at Gallier Hall, historic Gallier Hall, to bring you this parade this evening. Errol.
And even though this is a revolution, we're watching it from one of the most historic spots in Mardi Gras. That's Gallier Hall, where from the early days, going back to 1857, the first Columbus Parade, and then 1872, Rex, all of them passed right by here. The Grand Ducal Lexus, when you watch the Rex Parade, sat right there. And ever since then, all the downtown New Orleans parades have passed by.